Do you like basketball? Basketball nung. I like, but I'm not good at. Yes, I'm not.
Me too.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the State of the League podcast, the only NBA podcast that talks about every team every week. If your team is still active in the season, and then if you're subscribed to the Patreon,
Sorry,
is this
Portland.
week's. Yeah, sorry, Portland. Sorry, San Antonio. Maybe we'll throw in a couple Washington nods here or there. There's a quote about Poole circulating about how much of a grinder he is. I could drop that, but yeah, I'm Jack, aka Joestar. This is this week's free episode, patreon.com/state of the league. If you want an extra episode, plus access to a Discord and a bunch of other fun stuff.
Tell them what's going to go on the Patreon episode this week.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. On this week's Patreon episode, we are doing our season awards show. So we're going to tell you who we think and who we voted for, because we have media award votes for MVP, DPOY, Sixth Man of the Year, All Defensive Team, and then we made a bunch of silly awards as well. And we had the lobbyists. We polled them. They made up some awards in addition to that. We're going to run through all of that. It'll be a nice little cap to the end of the year before the postseason really kicks off. And then in this episode, we are running through every play-in tournament game that has happened so far and doing our previews for the playoff series that have been decided. The one seed in each conference is getting their opponent decided tonight, so I don't have a ton of stuff previewing the Boston versus Chicago or Miami series, or the Thunder versus, New Orleans and Sacramento?
Yeah.
Yeah, so other than that, we're running through all the playoff series that have been set up. Like I said, I'm Jack, Joestar, world-famous Pablo Escobar across from me as always. Pablo, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm out here in Indonesia. I'm in Jakarta. It's been fantastic. Is that two truths and a lie?
Ooh.
Well, I only have the one thing to say though.
I got a cool book called The Jakarta Method over on my desk. It's supposed to be very based. I only got like a quarter of the way through it. I need to repick it up. Nonfiction. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. It's a little difficult for me to work through at times, but yeah, it's about the CIA doing crazy shit over in Jakarta. So I hope they don't do anything crazy to you, and I hope you're not a CIA operative. That would make me sad, Pablo.
Shout out to Obama, known person from Jakarta. He mentioned it in his Anthony Bourdain Vietnam restaurant sit down. Shout out to that episode of Parts Unknown. It's a great one.
Yeah, shout out to Anthony Bourdain. Slightly smaller shout out to Obama. Probably one.
The shout out's limited to that episode.
Okay, all right. Just what went down in that episode. I got you.
And he's got his overall swag level. He's got an overall swag level.
I don't know. He puts out that Spotify list every year. Bullshit. Obama's listening to some of those songs, man. I'll tell you.
He's not blasting Phoebe Bridgers?
I don't think so, man. I know there's going to be new Taylor Swift album out today. There will probably be a couple songs from there on his end of the year wrap up, I would assume. And
do you hear this noise? There's a man mowing a lawn in front of me.
I don't really hear anything right now.
Okay,
I do only have one headphone in because I think I'm getting an ear infection. My right ear hurts right now, so I'm powering through for you guys.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was feeling weird. And then yesterday I went to see Civil War, the new movie, war movie, loudest fucking thing I've ever been in. So I just had my painful ear like plugged up the whole time. Not really worth it. If I had a good ear, it would have been fine. But overall, it was a well-made movie that didn't say much about war. That's how I felt about it.
You're like the Joel Embiid of seeing Civil War.
Exactly. Holy shit. I'm exactly like the Joel Embiid of seeing Civil War. I'm 10 games off of ear surgery. Hopefully not. That'd be some bullshit. I don't want to get surgery right now. Where do you want to start with the postseason and everything?
I don't know. Oh, wait, pause it, the recording for a second.
All right, guys, secret meeting. You don't get to hear it. All right, secret meeting's over. Audio only listeners. We do have a hat on the pod. Pablo hat alert. What's that say on the front of it?
Let's see. Oh wait, how do I?
Oh, Zion National Park. Hell yeah.
I
They
got
named it
this at
after.
Marshall's last year. It's my lucky Zion hat. But unfortunately I have not been able to wear it since about October 7th. So but in my car, we're okay. We're okay with me rocking a Zion hat. I literally bought it just because of Zion Williamson. Zion fans were so up.
I mean, kind of. He's fucking hurt, but
Well,
like,
yeah.
it's so funny that you like that. That's so telling about the lens through which we view basketball. Is that every Pelicans fan is like complete doom pilled right now, but us like fully fueled by agendas and shit, and just like how we can talk online are just like, this is perfect. 40-11 on Anthony Davis's head. Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
He's actually a better prospect than Wemby, though.
I'd like to see Wemby's second jump. He barely gets off the ground. He's so fucking big. He's not even
Oh,
explosive. Not like Zion. Oh my god.
man, it
Yeah,
was a
I guess that's a
dream
good
come
place to
true.
start. The Pelicans versus the Lakers. It was a great game. It was not a great game from Brandon Ingram or CJ McCollum, who were each minus 16 in a 4-point loss.
Ingram
But
has injury excuse at least.
yeah, CJ McCollum, we talked about him the week before. Literally like 4 or 5 straight 30-point games before this. And the Lakers are a pretty poor 3-point shooting defense. Like they will let you fucking sling it from outside. And
Not the greatest perimeter defenders over there.
yeah, no, notoriously it's like, oh, Gabe Vincent, watch out, guys. And then after that, like it's literally people who are objectively bad. And CJ McCollum just had a horrific game. But Zion, yeah, 40 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 65% true shooting. Pretty much every time he stepped on the floor, the Pelicans were like a better team than the Lakers, it
I
seemed
think
like.
they outscored them in his minutes.
That would make sense with like the eye test and everything, because they had no answer for him, and they played pretty damn good defense while he was on the floor for them as well. LeBron and Anthony Davis both had poor shooting nights. I think the Lakers as a whole were like sub 45% from the field and sub 35% from three, if I remember correctly. I know LeBron had he was like 30% from the field. But yeah, every time Zion sat, which was fairly often, he got 3 fouls, and that led to a good long stretch where he wasn't in the basketball game. Every time he went down, the Pelicans could not score the basketball. It was really, really tough. So yeah, what'd you think about this game?
Just that it was a dream come true. It was Anthony Davis, who I believe he was dealing with back spasms, right? He was a little
I
bit.
didn't hear that, but I trust you. I wasn't tapped into the injury report.
I heard this on the surface, so I don't know fully, but I think that was a thing. So maybe not 100% Anthony Davis, but good enough Anthony Davis, and he was fully smothering Zion on a lot of these layup attempts. It was just Zion going into Anthony Davis with his hands up in like volleyball, like textbook volleyball blocking position, forming a wall. It didn't matter. He just finished through him. Like Rui Hachimura tried to take a charge at one point. Zion just sidestepped him. There was another play where he jumped up with Anthony Davis and then just went left and like went around him. He was just scoring in a million billion different ways. All at the rim. He's insane. Everyone knows he's going to the rim, and then they
with his
load
left
up
hand. It's
with
going
his
to
left
left.
hand. There's no jumpers. He's going to the left side with his left hand. If he's on the right side, he's going to go back to his left hand. Everyone knows what's going to happen, and they cannot stop it. So I think they probably. It was still close, so who knows? But I think they probably win that game if he doesn't go down, because the Lakers really just had no way of stopping him. And then we'd be getting who? So then they would get the Nuggets matchup, the Pelicans.
Yeah, it'd be Pelicans Nuggets. Which,
Okay,
I mean, if Zion was complete, like, that's what I was thinking during this whole game, is like, if Zion plays 80% of this for like a full playoff series, it's gonna be like nerve-wracking for the Nuggets, because Anthony Davis, even with back spasms or whatever, like a ton of Zion's finishes at the rim were again, like you said, smothered incredibly difficult finishes. Like he
You
was
wouldn't make
doing,
them in 2K.
yeah, like he was doing a ton of like crazy angles and contorting his body using his long arms, all that shit. And like against the Nuggets, he's not even going to need to do that. Like it's gonna be Jokic trying, and it's gonna be Zion laying it up most of the time. And so the injury sucks. And I mean, I'm not even super excited to be playing the Lakers if I'm Denver, but it's the West. It is what it is. Your opponent's gonna be pretty good in the first round regardless. But yeah, Zion was getting scary in that fucking game. And I don't know. It feels like a bit of a wake up call to most of the internet. Like everybody was freaking out, and I was just kind of like, this has been there a lot during like the final third of the season. You've seen these stretches where, especially there was that game he had like 38 against the Timberwolves, and he was doing this to Rudy Gobert and everybody. And there's just been games where it's like, oh shit, yeah, Zion is like a complete player right now, and it's more so getting him to fit within the offense and like getting him to be aggressive, because he's gone on record being like, I don't like missing 3 layups in a row or anything, all that kind of shit. And so yeah, this felt like a big coming out party for Zion on a large national TV stage. And so it sucks that he got hurt, but it rocks that the stock is up the way that it is.
You just reminded me of something we talked about in the past. I forget in what specific context, but remember we talked about how there's like people who only consume the NBA through a Lakers lens. Like everything is
yeah, because like
Lakers.
yeah, I do remember that.
What do you remember? What were we talking about with it?
We were talking about how MVP voters are oftentimes like if they're gonna watch a game, they're gonna watch the Lakers game. And so like Lakers Thunder is on tonight, I'll watch Shea through this lens. And so if you play well against the Lakers, it sometimes feels like it carries more gravity with the voters, just because so many of them are oftentimes guaranteed to tune into those games. And this absolutely felt like that. Like everybody was watching this game because it had so many big implications for the postseason. And yeah, Zion fucking cooked. It kind of, have you seen Demon Slayer?
Yeah.
It reminds me of Lightning
Kimetsu
Guy.
no Yaiba? Yeah.
Yeah, Kimetsu. Yeah. Is it Zenitsu? Is that the lightning breath?
Yeah.
His left-handed layup reminds me of him, because he's only got the one, the thunder breathing first form, but he's got so many like different. He's like, I'm gonna do it 8 times in a row, super fast, and it's just super powerful. That's what the left-hand layup feels like with Zion to me. It's like, oh, I'm just going to like curl the left-hand layup this time. I'm just going to go around your hand with my left-hand layup this time. Like there's so many variations of the exact same thing. And yeah, it's just, it was phenomenal to watch for the first 46 minutes. And I agree. I do think they win this game if he's healthy. And the second he went down, I was like, oh shit, that's probably it. Like they could not do anything.
They couldn't even bring Ingram in for the final minutes because they're like, oh, he's not going to do anything. So
yeah.
But
shout out to Trey Murphy though. He had some huge threes, dude.
He'll be on next week to talk about it, guys. Subscribe to the Patreon. He'll be on there next week. That's a good full circle moment talking about the Zenitsu sword thing, because if we go back to when he lost to the Lakers in the in-season tournament and everyone was super down on him, I was talking about him compared to a Liquid Swords, like the Wu-Tang Liquid Swords album. I compared him to a lyric where the guy says, and when I swing my sword, they're all choppable. And I said, Zion, his sword is still like that, but he's just not swinging it. And so now he's in much better shape. Months later, he's swinging his sword. Everyone's choppable. Anthony Davis, choppable. But it's funny because everyone who thinks Zion is bad is probably because they were watching the Lakers games, because he struggled not even just in the in-season tournament game against them, but he just had a rough go against LeBron and the Lakers all year long. So there's this whole like subsect of people who like probably like Shannon Sharp and Stephen A, I don't even know, like they only watch the Lakers games, so they're like, man, this guy is overrated. This guy sucks.
Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers is on Twitter like, this guy fucking sucks. He's not. Rui Hachimura's better. We have our own Zion, and he can shoot threes.
Oh man, it's crazy. It's interesting because even going back to Duke when he was like the most popular player in the country, it felt to me like nobody watched him because there were all these people who assumed he was like just a post-up player, and they were like 6'7" post-up guy. This is Jaleel Okafor. This is not going to work. And I'm like, this is Jumbo John Wall. This is not that. So it's great to be up as a Zion stan.
Being low on Zion coming out of college.
Gilbert Arenas, he famously said he's unskilled.
Oh my God. And that's so dumb to me because I get I do get the unskilled takes for like Giannis or whoever, and I don't agree with them because like there's a ton like the footwork is really like agility for a 7-footer, all that shit that Giannis does. But for Zion, if Zion was unskilled, he would just be like super strong Derrick Jones Jr. Like
he would not be close to what he is. It is impossible to watch a full Zion game and a good Zion game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to watch a Zion finishing attempt and think that he's unskilled. Like, especially for Gilbert Arenas, like, aren't you supposed to be, I'm a real hooper. You guys don't understand basketball. Like, how come I'm the one getting excited about contorting layups in the air and touch in English?
Yeah, that's the other thing is like, on top of that, like the unskilled part of Giannis where it's like, oh, he only dunks. Zion has like, it's like Jokic for me, and then Zion is like right there number 2 in terms of touch at the rim in the league, and it's specifically at the rim. It might strictly be it might strictly be Zion, where like Jokic has the touch in the mid-range floater area really well, but like full sprint down the floor, Zion laying it up off the glass, like it's some of the best touch that I've ever seen. And so
it's bizarre because Jokic is moving at like a slow, consistent speed, and it's like the touch goes up. Zion is, and then like his body is exploding, but then when the ball comes off his fingertips, he just has I've never seen anything like it. Not even like just it's like a guy throwing 100-mile-per-hour fastball and then like an 80-mile changeup. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, Zion, he was insane. Do you want to move to the next West play-in game, or do you want to talk about Lakers Nuggets off of this?
Who was? Oh,
it was Kings Warriors was the next game.
Let's do all the play-in games first.
All right. Kings Warriors, not as much agenda to push here. Zion agenda is like crazy, but Keegan Murray, phenomenal game from him, like passing the torch moment almost from Klay Thompson to Keegan Murray. That's how the internet was talking. 8 of 13 from 3, 32 points, 9 rebounds on 74% true shooting. Is the Warriors dynasty cooked? Question mark. That's what people are talking like online. What do you think about this game?
The game was pretty rough, but I'll tell you what, I didn't come away. Did you come out of this game thinking, if this was a 7-game series, did you come out of this thinking like, okay, if this was a 7-game series, they would be swept? How do you think this would go if it was a 7-game series?
Fuck. I don't know. It didn't feel like that to me. Like when I watched this game, it felt like Klay Thompson was horrible.
Yeah, like 0 for 10, right?
Yeah, 0 for 10. And like horrible in the sense of like fucking up ball movement and stuff. Also, like so bad that it really hindered the rest of the team when he shot the ball. And there were several players on the bench. Moses Moody specifically comes to mind that were better than him and probably deserved his minutes. But Steve Kerr wrote it out. And so that it is what it is. You ride it out with the guys who have gotten you there. And I don't really have a problem with that. I think if they play a full 7-game series here, you probably get a better game out of Curry at least once. Keon Ellis, phenomenal game from him. Shout out to Jack the Kings fan. We do respect you. Shout out to Aaron Schroeder. Slightly less.
Respect that guy. Don't respect.
But they've both been pushing Keon Ellis since like November of last year, and it paid off this week. He fucking. I mean, Steph Curry's still 22 points, 8 of 16, 3 of 7 from 3, but not really the Herculean effort you would like to see out of him in like a game that decides your series or your season. And so I think you probably get a 35, a 40-point game out of him at some point over a 7-game series. Kuminga only went 6 of 15 from the field for 16 points. I think you probably get a better game out of him. And so I think they probably win 1 or 2 games, but the Kings did seem like a better basketball team, largely speaking. It seemed like Sabonis was way more prepared for like the
He played good
physicality.
on defense this game.
Oh yeah. He was much better defensively, and he has been all season. That's why they were like 25th last year, and they're middle of the league now, but going from horrible to average is still a step in the right direction. He played well on both ends of the floor. Didn't really buy into any of like the Draymond back and forth, like instigating bullshit. Just played his game, facilitated really well. The Kings also hit their threes in this game, which if I remember, compared to in the postseason last year in their Warriors matchup, specifically Kevin Huerter comes to mind as like a huge regression. He was one of the best shooters in the league in the regular season, and then he could not hit the side of the barn in the playoffs. So I think that is another big change. But overall, yeah, I think Kings still handily win. The Warriors, this is probably closer to the floor of how they could have played. Just like a really bad time to have a horrible game.
Yeah, So I came away from this game. My main takeaway was Warriors didn't make shots. And so I think that was the difference. Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray were both fantastic on defense, and the Kings were making plays on defense the whole night. But I felt like it was just an off shooting night. And so I'm okay with people saying the Kings are the better team. That's completely fine. De'Aaron Fox is a monster. Now the Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray element is something they did not have last year, because Keegan Murray was not this level of shooter, and then Keon Ellis was not playing as much. Just two fantastic two-way guys. And they did this without Monk and without Huerter. And
that's crazy. I totally forgot that Monk didn't even play.
Yeah, and they so I feel better. I feel good about the Kings win, but as far as like the end of the Warriors dynasty, I'm more optimistic about it. So Klay Thompson is clearly
that's my question at that point.
Yeah, out of the big three, like he's taken a serious step back. And so in a and I still think he could be a good player to have on a roster as long as he's making threes.
Yeah.
But he clearly he's having trouble creating better threes for himself, I think, like sprinting around the perimeter and everything. So that's the thing. But at the end of the day, even if he's not who he used to be, if we take away the Klay Thompson expectations from him, then you still have is he 6'6" or is he 6'7"?
He's 6'7". He's tall.
Yeah, you still have a 6'7" guy who shot 39% from three, I think, on like 9 attempts per game this year, who's pretty limited off the bounce and everything, and a guy who can play so defense. I think that's still a fine guy to have on the roster. And then when you bake in the years of continuity that he has on this roster, where like him and Steph Curry, the chemistry, moving off ball, the split cuts, like backdoor cuts, having knowing where Draymond wants to find you, stuff like that, and being in the defensive system, even though he's never been the greatest team defender in the world, even at his peak. I do think all those things are valuable, but it depends on the price tag. And so, like, have you seen any numbers thrown out there? Do we know how much, like, people say he's going to Dallas. How much is Dallas going to pay him?
Yeah, I don't know. Klay Thompson. I mean, it feels like I've seen like 18 million. That's what pops up if you Google just like projected contract for him is like 18 to 20 million dollars annually, which that's not horrible. Like if you compare him,
Grayson Allen is going to get 17.
Yeah, that's where I was about to go. Is like if you compare him to Grayson Allen, Grayson Allen is he's a better defender.
He's better right now. I think overall.
I think where we're at with Klay, wherever he ends up, not the caliber of player anymore that like you rely on to be irreplaceable on your team. Like
Mhm.
you can't build your team just like with him being one of the rock solid foundations. I think if you want to win a title with him on your roster, you probably need to construct the team in a way that you could say it's a bad night from Clay. It's been a bad stretch of games from Clay. We need to reduce his role. We need to let these other guys play so that we can continue to win these basketball games. And when he, gets the hot hand back or whatever, then we can enlarge his role again to fit that. But I mean, the Warriors this year, just like looking to him to be still the second best offensive player on most nights, third with Kuminga. Once Kuminga became like a 20-point scorer, then yeah, obviously he's better. But yeah, I don't think you're going to really seriously contend for a title if that's how you're treating Klay Thompson. And I don't think when you talk about Dallas, when you talk about Orlando, those teams are not going to look to him to do that kind of stuff. So I agree with you. I do think he can still play like a good role on a good NBA team. And if you get like really hot hand Klay Thompson on any given night in the playoffs, that's a great thing to have off your bench. Like we've seen him get the hot hand microwave scorer stuff. That's a phenomenal piece to be able to just throw out there and swing a playoff game, or I mean maybe like a playoff series. That's probably stretching it a bit at this point in his career. But yeah, I don't think he's completely cooked. When people talk about the end of the Warriors dynasty, I think Steph can still be one of the best players on the planet.
He's still a superstar, yeah.
I think Draymond has not regressed defensively very much at all. He
did shoot. This is his first good shooting year since 2016. So we'll see what happens next year, but that's not something I expect.
Yeah, and like if that could continue, if Draymond can be like great defender who just kind of spaces the floor and is still a phenomenal passer, especially with Steph, like you mentioned, like the synergy that they've put together. I watched a fun compilation where it was just passes that you shouldn't make, but Draymond makes because him and Steph understand that it's going to be open because the defender doesn't think he's going to throw it. And so like there's a ton of advantages to that. But yeah, I just think if this Warriors team wants to retool and wants to contend for a title, it's going to look like a pretty different roster next year. I do like Chris Paul off the bench, though. I will say that. I thought he had a pretty solid season when he was healthy.
And so he's another guy, like, I don't think we have any clarity about where he's going to go. Like, I don't even know their cap situation. If they are they only going to be able to sign minimum guys? I don't even know if they don't. I'm assuming, do they have Clay's bird rights? I would assume that's like
I think so. I mean, I don't know who else would have them.
Yeah, so I would assume that's the situation there. But when I look at the totality of this roster, like Brandon Pajimski, they hit on 2 draft picks last year, so they don't have a draft pick in this year's draft. I think Portland has their draft pick, so that's an L. Ooh, hold on, guys, I'm gonna cough.
He's smoking too much. He just ripped the pen. Everybody, audio only listeners, everybody go smoke your carton of cigarettes. That's shout out to I Love Smoking Cigarettes 34 on the Patreon.
Oh, I love that guy. Yeah, Brandon Pajim. So they hit the loss of a draft pick doesn't hit as hard because they hit on 2 draft picks last year. They got Brandon Pajimski. They got Trace Jackson Davis. Both of those guys were like valuable rotation players this year, and so I think it's reasonable to assume both of them will get better. I don't know how high the ceiling is, but Brandon Pajimski specifically, I don't know if he'll ever be a star, but I think like based off what he's done his rookie year is crazy. Like he's already a positive on both ends in like every way possible, except for like vertical rim protection on defense. He's fantastic. Yeah. So those are 2 young guys who will presumably be better next year. Moses Moody is good. I saw there's like a little chart where those cycle memes that they do, like
yeah, like the Jimmy Butler cycle or whatever. Yeah.
So I saw a Moses Moody one. It's like be on the bench, finally get minutes, play well, be benched again. So Moses Moody, like it is weird what they do with his minutes. I don't know why they don't like him, but he is a productive, a good 21-year-old player.
Mhm.
Jonathan Kuminga took a leap this year. I've never been a huge Jonathan Kuminga guy, but I didn't expect it to get to this level. So maybe he'll take another leap next year too. He's still super young. So they have at least 4 good young players now who you would think are trending up.
Mhm.
Andrew Wiggins, are you done with Andrew Wiggins? Because he's 29, I think. He had a rough year this year too. He only missed, I think he played like 78 games, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
I
'Cause it
thought he
feels like he
missed
was not
way
there at
more.
all.
Yeah, it feels like he was missing. But for a lot of the year, he was missing every single shot he took. But also he's had like personal issues going on off the court. I think like family illness or something. He's had stuff going on off the court all year long. And so he hasn't been there on offense or defense to the level that we've
Yeah.
seen the past few years. So I wonder, is he at the beginning of a downswing, or is this just an off year? Because how different would this year be if he
Looking at
was
his
regular Andrew
contract,
Wiggins?
regular Andrew Wiggins, I don't think that like you're probably still in the play-in. I don't think that takes you like completely out of the play-in. Fuck. I don't know. I think his contract becomes too much. Next year it's $26 million. 2026 it's $28 million, and then
And you know what?
2020.
That was crazy when he signed it. Now it's less bad.
Yeah, it's
because how
not
much
like it
things
was
are
the
going
worst
up.
contract in the league when the Warriors picked
Yeah.
it up. Like it was horrible. And so, I mean, the fact that you won the title and he played such a substantial role, I think kind of justifies
An all-star starter.
Yeah, holy shit. Don't even get me started on that. But yeah,
Power
2027,
of
you will
K-pop,
be
baby.
paying him $30 million. He has a player option for that. I don't.
2027. How old will he be then?
He'll be
Like 30,
31.
30. Oh, 31 only? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it probably becomes too much. They have $175 million on the books right now. I think Clay leaving would have some of that come off, or like getting a smaller contract for Clay and everything. I don't know, man. I'm not completely out on Wiggins. I do think this is like closer to the worst version of what he could be. But I don't love paying him that much money. I don't know. If I could get off it, I probably would. I just don't really know what the Warriors do, because you're not going to get like a better player back for him right now.
I don't know if you. Oh, I just got an alert. Oh yeah, Michael Porter Jr.'s other brother who
Convicted.
Yeah, not a great year for that family. Because the gambling, this and the porn podcast. Oh man. The what's it called? Yeah, if also I don't know if it's the type of situation where like they get to keep his money, or they get to keep him on the roster, but if he leaves the roster, like I don't know if they get to use that money, like, or if it's just they get to go over the cap and keep him because they have whatever rights or whatever. Because they traded for him, they never had to sign him, so I don't know if they get like 26 million in cap room if they move on or something. And who would be willing to trade for him? Like, who needs
I
that
don't
cool
know.
thing?
Well, that's the thing is like, yeah, I mean, whoever's moving for him is in probably a similar situation to what the Warriors were when they moved for him, which is like, maybe we can rehab this guy into being like a nice defensive wing type player. But I mean, if you can't even see that next to Draymond Green, who's probably, in terms of like floor raising your teammates, it's like him and Gobert on the defensive end of the floor in terms of making people better. And I think he might even be better than Gobert because he's so smart, and like he can really explain exactly what Wiggins needs. Like we've seen that happen mid-game before. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Warriors are completely cooked, but I definitely don't love where they're at, and I think we are getting close to no man's land with them. It's really just contingent on the fact that you still have Steph Curry. You hit on the picks this year, and that's huge. I do love Podziemski and Trace Jackson Davis. But I think
Draymond did miss a lot of games. How many games did he miss?
I would say 20 off the top of my head, just from the suspension.
And so I wonder, like, and they still did win 46 games. So to me, I still see a foundation for optimism. I don't know how much I'm counting on it. Like, I'm not expecting another finals run anytime soon, or barring like injuries to other guys. But like, to me, this doesn't feel the same as like Miami coming off the 2014 finals, where it's like, okay, Dwayne Wade's knees are completely gone. We have no depth. We have no assets or whatever. We're just cooked. Like, it doesn't quite feel that way to me. I still feel like there's if we look up next year and they're like the 4 seed in the West or something like that, that wouldn't shock me.
It might shock me. The West is gonna be so crazy. I mean, that's like, and thankfully, when you talk about like 2014 Heat, the Warriors' decision is kind of easy because at this point it's like, well, do you want to rebuild and move off of Steph Curry, or do you want to just like literally ride Steph Curry off into the sunset? I feel like the layup choice is the second one there. Like,
yeah, I'll just ride him to the wheels.
Yeah, like you're
never gonna get another Steph Curry.
Even
There's no
this,
reason to
like this version of Steph Curry right now, you will probably never get a player that's as good as like this guy is right now. Much less everything he's done for the city and your team up to this point. So yeah, I think I don't know. It's tough. I don't think they're cooked, but I think the West is just going to be a bloodbath for the next several years. The Rockets are getting better. Wembanyama has the potential to get like exponentially better, even if they don't make a move. Like, he might be a postseason factor within 2 years. And then you're also adding Memphis back into the mix.
And they'll have a top pick.
Yeah, they will. They'll get a top pick, and they're already like, to me, I mean, if you told me Memphis makes the conference finals next year, that's not surprising. Like, that doesn't shock me. They were so good last year. And then Ja's hand folded backwards and everything kind of fell apart for them since then. But I think the West, and
they added Gigi and Vince Williams.
Yeah, they'll be better. Because I mean, fuck, man, the West is so crazy.
Who else is at the bottom of the West? Besides,
after it's the Blazers, and I think so. It goes: Spurs are the worst, Blazers are the second worst, Grizzlies were the third worst this year. Utah is who we're thinking about, and I don't think they're going to be like crazy. Do you think with Bryce maybe?
Let's see how the offseason goes, because you have to remember something. You have to remember, he slipped in the draft because of a knee injury. And so he didn't even get to like do training camp, I think. He didn't get to play in the summer league, that's for sure. So like this is a guy who didn't even get a full offseason with the team. He's not in peak shape. So man, when he gets in peak shape next year, he comes and asserts himself as the alpha in training camp. So they decide to run the offense through him, and he gets more rhythm as the mid-range shot creator. Then you get into the Bryce Laurie pick and rolls. Walker Kessler is better Gobert, basically. Keontae George. Oh man, I say watch out for those guys.
Watch out for you hear that? You hear the music coming over the horizon? That smooth jazz coming? Watch out, everybody.
No, for me, have you ever played Overwatch?
No.
There's this scientist character who was researching black holes, and then he like basically went crazy. And he like but the whole thing is like he hears this melody and he's going crazy all the time. He's like, what is that melody? And then it's like, dude, it's like this.
Oh, is that where the TikTok sound comes from?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
so that's what I hear. I hear this Sigma melody.
I guess another Kimetsu no Yaiba reference. Shout out to what's his nuts in the Entertainment District arc. Fuck, I can't remember his name. The sound Hashira, who has like the swords on the chains connected, and he comes back to fight the demon that like uses the poison sides, and he Yeah, he comes flying in out of nowhere with one hand, and he's like, "I can read your filthy music now." And then they like really get into it. So maybe that's whoever beats the Jazz in the postseason next year is that guy, I guess.
Yeah, so I think, but probably the Jazz is probably too early for the Jazz, and then probably Portland are the only two teams that you're like for sure you're going to be trash next year.
Yeah.
Who's going to fall off? Is anybody going to fall off?
You're
Lakers
looking
are
at
gonna get older.
like the Lakers and the Warriors, really, because of the age
Yeah.
the age thing. I think if the Suns got like shit injury luck, it could happen. Like if Kevin Durant, who played like 75 games this year, like if he plays 40 games and Bradley Beal, that's not a stretch for him to have a really off season as far as health goes. If him and Beal are hurt and it's just Booker trying to carry like Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal the whole year, I don't think that would really stack up with the rest of the teams in the West. And so I think you probably won't see a fall off as much as you'll just see like teams not be able to keep up with the talent of the West as much. All right, fuck it. I'm putting my foot down. Do you want to talk? We didn't even say anything about Sacramento.
Sacramento versus New Orleans. The last time they played without Zion, they got thumped by like 60 or something insane.
I'm still going Sacramento in that game.
I think probably because I don't know what Brandon Ingram did in that game. Actually, that might be a game. Or was that against the Pacers? There was a game where they scored 1 billion points, but Brandon Ingram didn't even score that many. I don't know what he did in that game, but Brandon Ingram is not 100%. So can they beat? I don't know. I feel like De'Aaron Fox is probably the clear-cut best player on that court, and that'll be hard to overcome.
Yeah, I'm going Kings there. Especially, I mean, maybe CJ Cook. I don't know. We've spent too much time on him. Do you want to do? All right, let's do Philly versus the Miami Heat, the Nicholas Batum game. Sick game. Total fucking rock fight. Exactly how Spoelstra wanted it for the first half. The Miami ran this crazy, like shifting zone defense that Embiid didn't even touch the ball for like 5-6 minutes at a time. It was insane.
And when he did, Jimmy Butler sniping it from behind.
Yeah, on one leg. A Jimmy Butler MCL injury in the first, like, I don't know. Was it in the first quarter or was it early second quarter? I can't remember. But
it was early on because I was in the Wendy's drive-thru listening to a radio broadcast, and they were like, "Oh my God, he's down and writhing in pain."
It was a classic Jimmy Butler injury game where he just like gritted his teeth and was still super impactful for the rest of it. And then in the second half, Philadelphia made some adjustments. Nicholas Batum woke the fuck up, 20 points on 83% true shooting, a ton of big plays in the fourth quarter. He went like 6 of 10 from 3-point range. I would assume most of those were in the second half, although I didn't keep track. And then he blocked Tyler Hero on the 3-point attempt to tie the game in the closing seconds. The city of Philadelphia, after booing the Sixers 4 separate times in the first half, they were extremely happy to see their team pull out the W. Other than that, Embiid, shit game. First 3 quarters, I was cooking. Fourth quarter, he stepped up. Scored or assisted on 11 of Philadelphia's final points before Miami started trying to extend the game through fouls. So like most of the live action scoring or passing that happened at the end of the fourth quarter, Embiid was responsible for Philadelphia. So that fucking rocked. He still does not look great in terms of like coming back from knee injury.
Yeah.
But he did enough to get the job done here. I am concerned. We'll talk about it in a second. What did you think about this game?
Yeah, he was still a monster. He was still like everything was geared towards stopping him, and he still got his numbers and everything. He was still a monster, but there is still a little bit of passing lag for me. There were some moments where I was like, man, you have Buddy Hield on that quick swing.
Mm-hmm.
There was I forget who. There was like a corner pass to Batum or somebody where it's like
Yeah.
he just took one beat and then passed it, and then it made the shot harder. There's still these moments with him where he's definitely gotten better as a passer, but I just watched like this game and I'm like, this just wouldn't happen to like Luka or Jokic.
Yeah. It might happen to Giannis though. I think
Yeah.
that's a fair standard to hold him to as a passer.
But I think he's beyond. I feel like he should be beyond Giannis as a passer at this point.
I mean, he should be. Yeah.
Like in the half court specifically, I feel like
because he has
based on what we saw in the regular season, he was like a tier above.
Yeah, I guess. And there is a lot. I think what stood out to me is I don't know if it's like processing speed or like hesitating to make a move because of where his knee is at, but there was a lot of he would catch it and he would go into like the triple threat stance and he would just sit there for a good 4 or 5 seconds of the shot clock. And I mean, if you're going against like an undisciplined defender, that's fine because you will like that's a lot of time for the defender to get out of position for him to like do the rip through or catch them on like a foul call or get to the rim, blow by them because they're overthinking where their hands should be and all that. If you're going against like a really disciplined defender like a Bam Adebayo or especially a Kevin Love in the first half was phenomenal against Embiid.
Can't believe he's still going.
I know. I texted my dad loves Kevin Love. He's been a huge Kevin because he loves
an
LeBron.
Dad guy.
He loves LeBron, and so when Kevin Love came over from Minnesota, he was like, "Dude, my fucking life is perfect, baby. Holy shit!" And so yeah, he's been a huge Kevin Love guy ever since. And so Love did it. I mean, yeah, like so when you catch the ball and you just hold it at that point, you're just like letting this zone defense that's completely fucking up everything you're trying to do offensively. You're letting them dictate the pace of the game. You're letting that defense reset, and you're not really like leveraging any advantages for your team. And it felt like Embiid was doing that a ton. Plus on the passing, like a good passing thing, he did have that pass to Oubre for the and one with like 30 seconds left in the game to put them up 3, I believe. He caught it at the elbow or on the wing by the 3-point line, and it was a quick pass too. Oubre sealed somebody smaller, maybe Hero or whoever. He sealed him right under the basket, and Embiid kicked it directly to him and one layup, and that felt like it won Philadelphia the game. But yeah, I do agree that there was some processing stuff that was concerning, and it's not going to get any easier against New York. You're going from a defensive sicko to a defensive sicko with like way better tools at his disposal. It feels like Bam Adebayo, probably the best individual defender out of anyone on the Knicks or the Heat. But like, if you just took every single defender on the Knicks and the Heat, stacked them up 1-to-1, the Knicks probably have a better roster. And so it's a little concerning heading into that series.
Tyler Hero, they said he shot the Dame trade date. What was
he shot Milwaukee's area code from 3. I saw this tweet thread.
Oh,
yeah.
What was he? Was he 6 for 27?
He was 9 for 27.
9 for 27. Was the trade that late? Oh, wow.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So September 27th is when it would have gone down. That sounds about right. September, yeah, it was pretty quick before the season and everything because he held out the whole year.
Yeah, that was a rough game for Tyler Hero. Probably not the best for the bubble boy reputation, but
I mean, I felt like he did fine down the stretch. Like he hit in the fourth quarter, it felt like he hit some big shots, but Jimmy is obviously who they're relying on to hit their ceiling of a team, especially in those biggest moments. And with him playing on one leg, the Heat are not as scary. There's really not any other way to put it. So yeah, they play the Bulls tonight, I believe.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, let's get right. I mean, do you have any closing thoughts on Philly, Miami?
No, we could get into it later with this is another one where I feel like in a 7-game series, I feel like the Heat could still win this. But
Oh yeah, yeah. So Chicago versus Atlanta. I said the Bulls will not let Pablo rest. They won't let him sleep. Let me die. The Coby White game, 42 points on 82% true shooting. Calm little would you rather real quick. I got 3 names here for you.
is one I've been thinking about one name. We'll see if you wrote it down.
So the first one was Devin Vassell.
Okay. Coby is probably the better player right now, yeah.
The second one's LaMelo Ball.
Oh, LaMelo was good in the games he played. Are they guaranteed healthy for me?
No.
They're not. just how they exist right now. You know what? I might still take LaMelo just because the passing is so special. But
Yeah.
this crazy. He's in Kobe combos now.
Yeah. Final one, Darius Garland.
That's who I've been thinking about because they were constantly compared to each other in the draft, and I was very staunchly a Coby White guy. I've talked about before.
Isn't
Coby
like a full 3 or 4 inches taller?
He's 6'5", but he's a pretty small 6'5".
Coby? I mean, how big is Garland?
Garland is 6'2", and he's pretty tiny.
He's listed at 6'1". He's seen like
6'1".
Looking at Coby run. I mean, especially now, I think Kobe's probably bulked up since he was younger as well. Like he's probably added some muscle. They look like leagues apart in terms of strength, athleticism, and all that. But yeah, so continue with what you were doing.
Yeah, I think they were constantly compared pre-draft, and I was staunchly Coby White, and I was also like, I've talked about before, I was like, Coby White's not that much worse than John Morant, guys. Like John Morant's better, but not by much. And I was for years, I was like, okay, historic L. And then Darius Garland has been better for many years, but now I'm finally starting to feel like it's a conversation again. I still think Darius Garland is the better passer. He's one of the better passers in the NBA. I feel like his passing got a little overhyped. He was never in the top tier for me, like with LaMelo and with John Morant and with some of these other guys. But he's been a very high level passer. The shooting, I feel like they're pretty comparable now, just because Darius Garland's shooting has not been as good as. He's one of those guys. What did he shoot this year? Can you pull that up?
Garland's 3-point percentage?
Yeah. He's another guy who I feel like it hasn't been as high.
37% on 6 attempts.
Okay. What has he been the past few years?
Last year, 41% on 6 attempts. Year before that, 38 on 7 attempts. Year before that, 39 on 5 attempts. And then that was his rookie year where he was bad before that. So,
okay.
Yeah,
so he's been pretty reliable this whole time. So but Coby this year is at that, right? He's like 40% on.
It feels like Coby this year strictly better 3-point shooter. He's at 37.6% on 7 attempts per game. So slightly higher volume, slightly higher percentage. But also not playing. I mean, playing off DeMar DeRozan rocks, but playing off Donovan Mitchell is probably more open 3-pointers. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's so. I would guess. I don't know. I would have to watch more Darius Garland because I think I'm a little bit prisoner of the moment with him right now just because he hasn't played that great this year. So he's been injured, so there's reasons for that. But when it comes to on-ball passer, he's still better. But Coby White has taken major strides as a passer. Like he's making passes I never dreamed he'd make. Like in that game, he made a live dribble one-handed skip pass to the corners.
Ooh, are you talking about the one where he was like dribbling from the right wing and he hit like a weird little stutter into a Euro step? And
not that one, but I think I know the one you're talking about.
That
where
one
he
was
like
sick.
Looked back and then threw it to a different guy. Yeah. He's like manipulating people, and that was a thing when he was coming out. There was this article I read by Cole Zwicker, who now works in the Houston front office as a scout. He's like, I don't know if I've seen Coby White throw one advanced pass all year long, or maybe he saw him throw exactly one. Like it was just the most basic passes possible. He wasn't doing anything. And so his passing leap has been crazy. His shooting has been great, both as a pull-up shooter and a spot-up shooter. I love his deep spot-up threes, like a few feet behind the line. But then Darius Garland, I think he's not as good attacking the rim. It's just harder for him because he's smaller and he's just a different kind of athlete. Like, he's very much stop, start, quick, like trying to juke you out. Kind of like,
feels like he's better at like jump shot separation athleticism than he is necessarily like getting to the rim athleticism. And I feel like that's also where, like, when you're talking about Coby and how much bulkier he looks this year, that like absorbing contact and moving through guys on the way to the rim. Garland has almost none of that. That's where he's like really reliant on someone like Jared Allen helping him get to the rim through the threat of the lob and having the big man kind of roll with them. Garland in just like an isolated driving to the rim sense, I don't think they're that close at that skill.
And I think that makes Coby a better off-ball player because he's much better at attacking closeouts, I think. And he's so fast. That was another thing coming out of the draft. He's like end-to-end speed. He's incredibly fast. And as a prospect,
so is Dosunmu. That's another thing that jumped out in this game. I don't want to derail.
He's a long stride guy. But yeah, Coby's so fast. His handle as a prospect, it was very cool. He had like highlight level ball handling plays, and like one time against Clemson, he like had the sick deceleration move. Guy went flying. But he hit people criticized his handle for being too high. He like dribbled very high up, and so to beat someone off the dribble, you got to be lower than them. So people are like, he's got to fix that. Last night, the handle was off the charts. That's the best ball handling game I've ever seen him play. He was like splitting double teams. He was shaking. He shook Capella out of his shoes. Maybe that's not that much of a feat these days.
Whoa! Perimeter defender, perimeter stalwart, Clint Capella. Holy shit!
Oh man, in the Houston days, switch everything. He was marvelous. But yeah, Coby was like unstoppable, and you could say, okay, it's the Hawks. Everybody can score
DPOY Trae Young
points on the Hawks. That man, he's back to old Trae Young on defense.
We'll talk about them in a sec.
That injury, but the game before was against the Knicks, and he was carving them up the same way. And so for most of this leap, maybe it's too early to say he's better than Garland because Garland's been legit for a few years and Coby has only come on to this level this year. That's why he's the most improved player, should be. So right at this very moment, I think Coby White is the better player because of the off-ball game. I think he's more scalable. And so even though Darius Garland is better on the ball, like Darius Garland as your on-ball engine probably doesn't take you that far in the playoffs. So maybe I'd rather, like, if you swapped Coby White in on that Cleveland team, they're probably better. But maybe the Bulls are better if we have Darius Garland. But who knows? I don't know. But at this very moment, Coby White, I would say is better. But if you are a Cleveland guy and you're listening and you're like, come on, man, it's been 6 months or whatever. I get it. Yeah. I won't go all in on the Coby.
I think I'm fine with Coby White just being in the Darius Garland convo. I think like it's good. It's a testament to how much he has improved that like that's what we're talking about this year compared to where he was last year. So yeah, that rocks.
I thought he was like, I don't even know, kind of like Colin Sexton, but Colin Sexton was probably better than like more people thought Sexton was better before. I don't even know where he was. He was just like a 10-point microwave scorer, bad defender off the bench.
Hawks. The big thing I took away is that the announcers were like constantly like, oh, DeJounte looks so mad at Trae right now. Oh my God, he's fucking so mad. Like they're visibly upset with each other. Oh my God. Is it the last game of DeJounte Murray? Are we moving on from this offseason or what?
Here's the problem. They don't have their pick next year. It's unprotected, I think. And
Shit.
San Antonio has it.
Oh
So,
my God. Big
so,
draft for San Antonio. If only it was deeper.
so, well, no, next year, 2025.
Oh,
Cooper
okay. Never,
Flag.
damn, Cooper Flag. Dude, Cooper Flag plus Wemby plus they trade for Trae Young after that. It's going to move mountains.
Trey, hey, we'll take Trae Young, but not for your pick.
Not for Cooper Flag. We're taking Cooper Flag. Give me that.
So they really have no incentive to blow. I mean, and the Spurs have come out. There's reports now saying the Spurs are like, we're not giving you that pick back. So there's not necessarily an incentive for them to lose next year. Maybe they're just like, well, we are done either way. Maybe this extra, this 10th seed revenue isn't worth it. Because they could probably be in the same spot next year. I don't even know what what the East would be.
I don't know.
They've been in the same spot for years. Them and the Bulls. So, but I think and they are run right now by like a crazy clueless nepotism baby, I think. So I don't know what they're thinking, but if I was in charge, you probably have to, but I would have never done the DeJounte trade in the first place.
Yeah.
So, but something's got to change. Like people, either way, I think if you trade DeJounte and run it back with Trae, I think that makes some sense. If you trade Trae and try and keep things going with DeJounte, I think that makes no sense. I think there's just no world where he's a franchise player. If you trade, I think trading both makes sense. But then you're just losing for San Antonio, and then I don't know whose picks you're getting for them. So it's really a horrible spot to be in. I would probably just ride Trae Young out. No Diddy, that's what they're saying now. But
that's so fucking stupid. I hate that phrase. No Diddy. Oh wow, you're not a sex offender?
I am not. I didn't blow up Kid Cudi's car. No Diddy on the car, on the trying to kill people.
Perfect.
But yeah, I think you probably have to go Trae Young again, and because he was still good this year in the regular season, he was really good. So, then just wait and see. I don't know. It's horrible.
It sucks. All right, I'm fucking done with the play-in game stuff. We are moving. We're an hour in. We haven't talked about one playoff team yet, so this rocks. Where do you want to start? The West is more exciting. Do you want to start with the East or start with the West?
I'm okay either way.
Okay. Let's go Knicks Sixers right off the bat. I don't have shit written down for Celtics Bulls / Heat or
they'll probably wreck whoever wins. Yeah, I didn't write down for either of the undecided.
Yeah. I think yeah. So Knicks Sixers, let's get right into that because I think that's where we were going when we were talking about the Heat Sixers game. Again, Heat or Embiid looked pretty rough coming back from the knee surgery. He's only like 10.
Should we timestamp?
Fuck it. Yeah, let's do a quick little timestamp. I'll call it 101. I'll throw it back a little ways.
It took them an hour.
Oh my god. Yeah. So Embiid, he's really only like 10 games back from substantial, serious knee surgery right now. And so,
are you good? Because we're gonna need you to carry us for the.
Are you good? Because we were one of the worst teams in the league when you weren't playing. Like we were.
Need you to do everything.
We were so bad. We were so bad.
Is that knee sutured up?
Is that knee? Good, because here comes Hartenstein. Watch out. He's fucking crazy. He's got a baseball bat. So yeah, I just Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, probably like minimum top 3 defensive front court in the league. They don't I wonder how often are they on the court?
Drummond are up there.
Vooch and Drummond?
Yep.
Maybe just Drummond.
They got mass.
Maybe if you got 2 Drummonds, that could help. But I don't know about old Nikola Itch. Oh, I made a joke. Me and my girlfriend saw your TikTok while we were watching TikToks, and I said I got an itch that only Nikola can scratch, and that's what you should have done for your Nikola itch draft picks. Yeah. Thank you. I'm sure everybody's laughing right now. Okay, so yeah, Hartenstein and Robinson, really good defensive front court. That's a really fast test for a guy who's like on 1.5 knees right now. I think the Knicks.
And Robinson, to be fair, how many has he played? Much more than Joel? When did he?
I think Robinson probably like 15 games, and so no, not much more than Embiid. But they also are not asking him to do. They're asking him to do like 70%
Hey,
of
can
what.
you block a few shots?
Yeah. Can you be there? Can we have all 6 of your fouls
You're
if we
gonna
need
come,
them?
right?
Yeah. Okay. No. So he's sitting at like 10 games. It looks like 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he's sitting at 10 games right now. Not a huge sample size back, and he's not the most durable guy in the world, anyways. So that's another concern from New York's perspective. Is just like is he good to go? But it rocks that he's back for this series. Other than that, I wrote down Brunson coming in on an absolute fucking heater. 35 points, 7 assists on 60% true shooting in his last 17 games.
Wow.
He has 2 games in that span where he scores less than 26 points, and he has 9 games in that span where he scores more than 35. The Knicks are 12-5 in those games.
35 plus, man.
Yeah. Oh, 35 plus merchant. Oh, I'm a 40-point merchant. I've scored 40 points all the time. Congratulations, dude. Some Knicks fans found a tweet of mine where it was like when Becky Hammond put that quote out where she was like, "I don't think Brunson's a 1A. He's too short." I quoted it and I was like, Knicks fans are essentially like banking on the fact that Brunson's a top 5 player in the world for this quote to be wrong. And then, I mean, I wouldn't call him top 5 in the world. Has had like a top 6 regular season this year. I think it's like him and Tatum for the 5th spot probably. And in recent weeks, he's been incredibly impressive. So they were just fucking dunking all over me for that take. It wasn't super fun. I had to mute the tweet, but we moved. So yeah, I think I probably lean Knicks in this series. Maybe Knicks in like 6, especially with home court. Madison Square Garden is. I mean, if you ask Trae Young, it's fucking. You might as well be at home. But for Joel Embiid, maybe not so much. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
There was, guys, if I looked shifty during that last segment, because there was a cop driving by and I was wondering if he was going to harass me for sitting in this empty parking lot, because that happens to me.
But then he saw your hat and he was like, "Oh, I love a good police state, baby."
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's an IDF guy. I could tell by that nose and that hat. Joel Embiid, the Sixers. So I straight. Oh, also, so in Haikyuu, the volleyball anime, the main schools their mascots are the crow, or the main school, their mascot is crows, and their main rival, their mascot is cats. And
cool.
So whenever they have their rivalry matchup, they call it the battle at the garbage dump, because that's where a cat and a crow would like
that's
meet.
Sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so I was trying to come up with that for every single playoff matchup. Spoiler alert, most of these don't have good ones. And so where would a Knick and a Sixer meet? I wrote down battle at the factory. Like
no. I don't know. So we're thinking. I'm thinking like battle of. I'm thinking like
battle act. It's got to be a location.
Okay, I'm thinking like cobblestone streets, Revolutionary War era pub type situation. Like somebody in a pair of knickerbockers bumps into somebody who aligns with the revolutionaries, and so we've got like a battle at the Battle of Liberty Kids, perhaps. Battle. Did you ever watch Liberty Kids on PBS?
I didn't.
Oh, you fucking dork. Oh my God. It was one of the best PBS shows. All right. Well, yeah. The battle at the pub, I guess we could do that. The battle at the old-timey pub.
We'll do battle at the cobblestone alley outside the pub.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Battle at the cobblestone alley. So The Sixers with Joel Embiid are very good. 31-8 with him. He's a completely unstoppable force. I looked up his head-to-head stats versus Hartenstein and versus Robinson.
They're great, I would assume.
Yeah, 31-11-3 in 7 games versus Hartenstein. 27-11-3 in 9 games versus Robinson. Now I don't know, not an exact science. We don't know how much those guys were guarding him during those games.
Yeah.
But in the latest game, they did try Hartenstein straight up against. Oh, I don't know if this is the latest game or just one of the games, but they tried Hartenstein just straight up guarding Joel Embiid, and he had a little bit of success. But I think the key to this series is that they are relatively well equipped to guard Joel Embiid, and so you can't just do one static defense on him the entire series long. He's too good.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll be able to switch things up. They have Hartenstein and Robinson, who for small stretches you can probably just try guarding him straight up 1v1. Both of those guys can be roamers. Like you stick one of them on him and then have the other to the side, like the unstoppable dynamic duo of Anthony Davis and Rui Hachimura. You can try that kind of thing. You can try. You have OG and Anunoby as well, who can probably handle guarding, like trying 1v1 versus Embiid, or as a helper. He could be a major big time helper.
Like if you have Embiid or if you have Anunoby slot in like the Butler free safety on entry passes type role that was killing Philly in the first half against Miami, just any role like that where it's like, oh, I beat Hartenstein, but now like if the ball is anywhere near my waist, OG Anunoby is coming in and like he has the capacity to snatch it away from me. That's a good space to slot him in. And then you also have, I mean, I don't know who, like DiVincenzo pops into my mind, but I feel like there's a wing I'm missing.
Josh Hart.
Yeah. Okay, Josh Hart.
So he probably like can't be behind Embiid on defense. I don't know, but like he could definitely be used bothering him on the entry passes and like fronting him. And the main thing is I feel like the Tibbs approach will be really beneficial for this matchup specifically because they go 100% all the time, like in the regular season. And a lot of times we're like, chill out, guys. But now it'll help because I think that high motor it's really useful against Embiid because it's a battle. You're like fighting him for post position and everything. And so somebody like Josh Hart, I think can stand near Embiid to try and deny the entry pass, but can still will be sprinting out for the closeouts on like Maxey and the open shooters and whatever. So I feel like this is one of the better equipped teams to throw different defensive looks at him, and they could make things hard on him. And the stamina disparity, like he's not running on a full tank.
Yeah, like
and so he's gonna have to work very hard against this team.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is just the cursed energy pool, I guess. It's Embiid at like 60%.
His output is huge, but his reserves are not.
His reserves they're terrible. And so versus the combined pool of Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, like that's just tough. You have 12 fouls of great rim protector, big man defenders you can throw at Embiid. You have all of like the energy that those two have, who both are like in shape, go 100% guys, like you said. And then on top of that, an aspect of Hart that I really like, specifically for postseason Embiid, is you do see Embiid, like it feels like, at least I don't have any numbers to back this up, it feels like his offensive rebounds go up a little bit in the postseason because he will miss bunnies in the mid-range where he usually makes them, but he knows that it's going to be short or long or whatever, so he's able to get in position first to grab the board. Josh Hart rebounds. Yeah. The Moses Malone rebounds, if you will. Like he knows it's coming off, so he knows what it would be. Josh Hart is like a tertiary rebounder to OG Anunoby, to Mitchell Robinson, to Hartenstein. Josh Hart's like really good at filling in that role. So I think that'll be, I don't know, not crazy impactful. That's not going to swing the series, but it is just one more layer to this shit sandwich that is the Knicks, if you're looking at it from the perspective of the Sixers. To give the Sixers a little, I don't know, like what sticks out to you is like going the Sixers' way in their favor in this series beyond just like Embiid ostensibly is the best player if you get the best version of him.
I think we'll learn more about Maxey. I'm still not quite as high on Maxey as other people are, but he has, like we've talked about, like he's dropped 50 more than three times or something this season. So this will be a series where I think you have to devote so many resources to Embiid that there will be gaps for Maxey to exploit, and maybe he explodes. Maybe he averages maybe he has like a crazy Jamal Murray type series, like 40% shooting on super high volume and just attacking cuts, stuff like that. And yeah, the optimism just comes from if this series happened in January, everyone would have favored us, and we'd all be like, we're going to win this for sure. And at what we've seen of Embiid is still dominant. It's still like going like at the end of the day, my team has a superstar, your team does not. And so maybe they'll be like, well, Jalen Brunson's playing like a superstar, but still it's the levels. We have the absolute top 3 guy. You have like top 10-ish this season, maybe guy. I don't know. But so you have the best player in the series, so that would be your thing. How do they? I'm worried about. I don't want to rain on the parade immediately, but I'm worried about them defending Brunson because Joel Embiid doesn't really want to move around on defense, right? Like he's dropping back, and like when he went up on the perimeter against Miami, it's not the same. And then how many they have D'Anthony Melton in
Isn't he
Philadelphia?
hurt?
He is day to day. So
Okay.
he didn't play in the latest game. I don't know.
So you're expecting him to come back and immediately guard hot, like 35 point per game version Jalen Brunson. That's tough. That's a tough ask.
Yeah, and then it's like Lowry, Maxey, Campaign, Buddy Hield, Kelly Oubre.
Wish you had Pat Bev still.
Yeah.
Kinda. he'd be all right for it. Yeah, I don't think they really. You look to it, and you look like, okay, Embiid for like the postseason struggles, even in like the Boston series where he got a lot of criticism last year, I still thought great rim protector, both in transition and the half court. Like I thought he changed the game on that end of the floor. And if he can recreate that, that is something that helps you guard Brunson because he will affect a lot of like the off 2 feet shots in the paint that Brunson likes to take, which I mean, all season long, there's been a big man in front of him and he still seemed to make it a lot. So I don't know how much you can really bank on that, like slowing Brunson down. I thought Lowry was trying hard in the Miami game, but it doesn't feel like they have a super well-equipped backcourt defender to throw at him. I'm sure you'll see campaign minutes on him at some point. Maybe you'll see Batum thrown at him a little bit. But beyond that, yeah, I don't know. I'm also a little bit nervous about Tobias Harris. It feels like he has been pretty up and down. And if he has a bad series, is that like who OG Anunoby will be guarding and like helping off of? Because if Harris is having a bad series and that's the guy that like Embiid is kicking out of the super smothered double team towards, that's going to be it's going to be tough.
Yeah, the shooting doesn't feel that great. They do a Buddy Hield, which is cool, and then that's really what helped them win against the Heat, right? They went to more shooting. They brought out Batum, who hasn't done much in the games leading up to this one. They brought up Buddy Hield. if they do play DeAnthony Melton more, I think he is a little more limited offensively. So that would probably be like the guy they're selling out on. But yeah, I mean, Tobias would have to. Maybe they do just ignore him. They're like, we'll let Tobias Harris beat us.
Yeah. In the Heat game, 9 points on 4 of 10 shooting, 0 of 3 from 3-point range for Tobias Harris in 33 minutes. 4 assists, 2 turnovers. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not super high on him. I don't really know. I think he might be a free agent after this season, which
Yeah,
right now doesn't really matter. You're just looking at how well he can play.
Hold
But
on, those guys. Hold on, I need to have a combo. Pause it
all right.
soon.
All right. Well, that's our Philly Knicks segment, everybody. Brought to you by TSA Security Warehouses. We love them. We love parking near them. We love the country of Jakarta for kicking us out of those parking lots. Do you have any final thoughts on the Sixers or the Knicks?
I'm just worried about Jalen Brunson pull up threes if I'm the Sixers, but that's it. Should we throw out predictions? Should we throw out Knicks and 6?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wrote down Knicks and 6 as well. But game one, if they lose home court, it could go either way. But yeah, there's just it feels like everything falls in New York's favor when you look at like how shit stacks up in this series. So yeah, Knicks and 6. That's what I'm saying. Get them out of my face. Timestamp. Just going down the East, we can do Bucks Pacers next, I guess. Giannis questionable for game one.
Battle at the back roads. Where does a Buck and a Pacer car meet?
Well, I guess a Pacer car.
Yeah, they wouldn't really drive it down a dirt road, but
yeah. It'd be like battle at. I'm trying to think like where like a deer would jump out onto the road. Maybe like battle at the highway in the crowded woods, perhaps. It's a little lengthy though, kind of a mouthful.
Yeah, I that's why I just said back roads.
Back roads. So I'm fine with that. Yeah. We got Giannis questionable for game one with a calf injury. So right off the bat, I'll ask you a similar question I just asked about Philadelphia. What, if you're Milwaukee, makes you feel good about this series, other than the fact that healthy Giannis, or even like 80% Giannis, is probably the best player in this series? Beyond that, like what makes you feel good? Because running down the list, it feels like a lot of shit falls Indiana's way at this point.
Yeah. Really, I feel like the only angle you have is Damian Lillard. If we're just a Damian Lillard team, maybe he turns it up in the playoffs. Maybe as a vintage Damian Lillard season or series. Like if you just had Portland Damian Lillard, like if you teleport last year Damian Lillard onto this Bucks team, how would you feel about them versus the Pacers?
I think I'd still probably take Pacers, but I think the feeling would be a lot closer because Dame probably would have had a lot more like moments throughout the season.
Because think about like peak offensive Dame, and with peak offensive Dame, you're just like, man, if he just had defenders around him. And then on this Bucks team, there is Brook Lopez, who's good, and then there is Chris Middleton, who's good. He's healthy, right?
I think he still started to miss games towards the end of the season again, but I don't think he's like on the injury report for game one.
But yeah, they're not completely talentless outside of those two, but yeah, it's not a great feeling.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I did say so. The first bullet point I wrote down was Dame without Giannis this season, without Giannis in the lineup. 8 games, 4-4 record. Half of these games came against pretty damn good defenses. Like we were looking at 2 games against Orlando, 1 game against Boston, 1 game against like Cleveland during their good streak. And And so in those 8 games, he was 30 points, 7 assists on 63% true shooting, 45, 39, 92 shooting splits on 8 3-point attempts per game. So, like, you have that. And if that's the version of Dame that you're getting, I do think you can be competitive in these games. But, yeah, it's just beyond that. The Bucks are coming into this game 14-12 since the All-Star break. 13th best offense, 17th best defense during that span. The Pacers in the last 20 games are the second best offense in the league and the second best net rating in the league, behind only Boston through the last 20. And their defense is 15th in that.
Oh, I had 17th. NBA.com. What were you using?
I was using through the last 20, so not purely like 15 or the All-Star break. I did since March 8th, which is kind of arbitrary, but it lined up with some good Siakam numbers, so maybe that's bias here. So yeah, 15th best defense during that run, but overall just like pretty damn high level team. It feels like they've rounded a corner in those 20 games. Halliburton's 19-10 on 59% true shooting, 32% from 3. But if you cut that to just the last 10 games, the 3-point percentage jumps to 38% on 8 attempts. And then in the last 20, Siakam is 22 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists on 59% true shooting, 54, 38, 72 shooting splits. No free lunches, especially not in the playoffs. We don't want them. Just give me hard-earned baskets. How you feeling? How you feeling if you're Milwaukee or if you're Indiana? I guess I assumed you wouldn't take the Indiana standpoint because of your disdain for the city. But what do you think?
Well, yeah. If I'm an Indiana Pacer, I feel horrible because I'm a millionaire shackled to the worst city in the world. But yeah, as far as optimism for the Bucks goes, it probably starts and ends with Halliburton's not the same guy, right? He won't beat us up like last time, right? But yeah, the Pacers are 4-0 versus this Bucks team, but it is different teams. Siakam was not in any of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Doc Rivers was not the coach of the Bucks yet in the last game.
It's so funny that the big changes only make the team that's 4-0 get better.
Yeah. Well, Beverly, they didn't have Patrick Beverly last time, so maybe he'll shut
Belt
down.
to ass to her, maybe.
Maybe they'll shut him down. Buddy Hield was a big part of Indiana, and there's been a learning curve to playing without him. His ghost screens and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of a big loss for them. But yeah, he's not there. Benedict Mathurin is not there for Indiana, and he played well against the Bucks. But yeah, overall, I think me and everyone else in the world is picking Indiana to win this. Like even if Giannis was healthy, it would be tough. But with Giannis out, and I think he probably will miss this series. And like even if they go down like 0-2, well, no, 0-2 is probably they still would bring him back, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I expect him to play. But the Pacers have really turned a corner lately. In 53 minutes with Giannis off the floor against the Pacers this season, the Bucks were outscored by 39 points. So not too good. Both teams have vulnerable guards on defense. So yeah, I'm going Pacers. If Giannis doesn't play, do you think it's a sweep? It might be a sweep.
I think Dame has a game in him. If Giannis doesn't play at all, I think Dame can still win you a game. But yeah, it's just there's like so little explosiveness from this Milwaukee offense if Giannis isn't playing. And not just from like an athleticism standpoint. I mean more so from like how many guys can you realistically expect to score 25 points if Giannis doesn't play? It feels like you have Dame. Absolutely, you can expect that from Middleton. Maybe if you got one 25-point game out of Brook Lopez in a 7-game series.
Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis, baby. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I did write down their benches because these are two teams. Milwaukee's bench offense in the last 20 games, it's 8th. And then the Pacers have the best bench offense and the best bench net rating in the league in the last 20. Or this is post All-Star break now, sorry. But regardless, I don't know. It feels like we'll have some fun minutes of like TJ McConnell versus Bobby Portis, shit like that. But I do just think, I don't know. If Giannis doesn't play, it feels like you're instantly fighting an uphill battle versus the team that's just in a way better spot momentum-wise, and then you are burdened by the knowledge that Doc Rivers is spearheading your team. Like, if you get into a close moment or a pivotal moment in the series, history would tell us your coach will probably make the wrong decision. And so it's just like, yeah, I don't love where Milwaukee's at right now. It's pretty nasty. But if Giannis comes back, I think 0-2, they would still bring Giannis back. And I think 0-2, you could, like, we've seen Giannis do crazier shit, I feel like, than come back from 0-2 against this caliber of Pacers team. It's not like they're a force of nature. They're just
he would still be by far the best player on the court. Would he?
Yes. Like peak Halliburton that we've seen was just like he began to sniff the tier that Giannis was in. Like it's not even close. Giannis would be the best player. It is without Giannis, it feels like Siakam's a fucking weird mismatch for Milwaukee. Just because like
I think I watched what's it called? Shout out Caitlin Cooper and Samson Folk.
Mm-hmm.
They did a preview. I watched their preview of the series. Samson, he's been covering the Raptors for years. I think he said Brooke Lopez has had a lot of success guarding Siakam in the past, but I don't remember exactly.
Maybe it feels okay. So right off the bat, Siakam shooting 38% from three. He's only taking 1.7 attempts, so it's not like he's gonna like draw Brooke all the way out, like smothering him. And so I don't know. It feels like Siakam straddles the line between too mobile for Brooke and too big for like a Connaughton or a Middleton. But if
Neesmith, baby.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
Oh wait, no, Neesmith's on his team. What am I saying?
Maybe Neesmith double agent. He takes off his warm-ups. He's got a Bucks jersey on underneath. Yeah, if the guy who covers the Raptors says that Brooke has had success against him, I'll trust that. But also, we are seeing supplemental Siakam. I assume Halliburton will still be Indiana's focal point of attack heading into like go at Milwaukee's defense. So maybe Siakam playing off of an elite offensive creator, maybe that gives Brooke Lopez a lot more to worry about. I'm not sure. But even if Brooke Lopez really holds his own against Siakam, it feels like the Bucks have their work cut out for him. I'll go Pacers in 6. I won't call it a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, I'm feeling doomer about that. I just think Giannis is not going to be back. And this was a mid-team with Giannis in the Doc era. There was 19 and 20 in the Doc era. So I'm just out. I'm ready for the Bucks season to end, and I think they are too. So
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, okay. Let me get a timestamp real quick.
Yeah.
I do have X factors. I didn't have an X factor for Knicks versus Sixers. But X factor for this series would be Giannis's Cavs. That's what I wrote down.
Yeah, probably. And maybe like a Doc Rivers abduction. And then an interim coach takes over.
Assistant coach takes him to the title. There we go.
A time machine to not fire Adrian Griffin.
Yeah. All right. Takes us what to Magic versus Cavs? All right. Do you have a battle name for us here?
The Battle at the Castle.
Ah, okay. I like that. The Battle of the Castle. Hell yeah. The battle at Clash of Clans, maybe something like that. There we go. Although I don't think there's really Cavaliers in Clash of Clans, but I'm just thinking more from like the Wizards
standpoint.
Couldn't tell
you. I haven't played it. More busy.
I played it in like 8th grade. I like the art style of the game. But
I'm busy doing cool stuff like watching videos of people playing guitar stuff and watching videos of people skateboard, that kind of stuff. So
there's just too much sitting on my like a lot of the game feels like it's doing nothing. You're like waiting for cooldowns and stuff. And I can't get behind games like that. That's tough. I don't have it like that. But so Magic, I said quote unquote most boring series could be. It feels like it could be entertaining. I don't know. It feels like a
I think
favorable
it'll
match.
be a grind. It'll be
Yeah,
rough.
yeah. But like if I sit down knowing, okay, it's gonna be a rock fight. There's just gonna be 8 bricks in a row. It's gonna happen. I think I could still find entertainment value in that. I won't. There's been a lot of fake woke on Twitter being like, I'm a real basketball purist, so I'm excited for this series. Settle down, man. We don't have to act like everything is like the most fun thing in the world just because it happens to be professional basketball. I think it'll still be watchable and everything, but yeah, it feels like a favorable matchup for Orlando in the sense that Cleveland has not played at a high level defensively since the new year, and they need as much wiggle room as possible for Pablo to try and keep them afloat offensively. The Magic do. Over their last 20 games, Cleveland is 18th on offense and 25th on defense by net rating. They are the worst team in the league, not actively trying to lose basketball games. Now, to be fair, or I guess a silver lining there, the Magic, horrific three-point shooting team. The Cavs, their three-point defense is really what's killing them there. They're average to above average at most of the defensive metrics inside of the paint, but like all of their three-point shit, they just give up wide open looks on. And
that's
so,
fine in this series.
yeah, like that's not going to matter. The Magic aren't. I mean, maybe Jalen Suggs gets like a killer series or something, but beyond that, the Magic's second best three-point shooter is incredibly low volume and plays like 20 minutes per game in Jonathan Isaac. And so it's just like, yeah,
What's Mo Wagner shooting this year?
Oh, it's surprisingly bad. You think Mo Wagner's like a good three-point shooter? I would say it's like,
well, he's supposed to be like a stretch 5.
No, it's 33% on 1.4 attempts. So like he doesn't.
Oh, he's not even shooting them.
But the thing is, he's a good backup center. Like, he provides like really good minutes for them.
22 in one of their matchups this year in the latest.
Yeah, he averages 11 points, 4 rebounds on 60% from the field off the bench without even being a good three-point shooter.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I like Mo Wagner.
I think Wendell has been struggling, right?
I don't know off the top of my head, maybe. You mean just from 3?
Just overall recently, but I think also I don't know what he is at from 3 on the year.
On the year, he's 37% on 3.4 attempts. Let me take a look here. It's loading in, so whatever. I mean, so like beyond that, beyond the 3-point shit that Orlando has going for them, I said in these last 20 games, that's the stretch I was talking about where Cleveland's been shit defensively. Donovan Mitchell has only played in 8 of those games, and he averages like 19 points per game on pretty mid efficiency. He did just have back-to-back 29-point games in like their final 2 games of the season, not counting the one they threw against the Hornets. But yeah, it feels like some shit is leaning Orlando's way in this 4-5 matchup. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like they're dead even. But yeah, Orlando definitely has the momentum, I should say, because Cleveland over the last month or so, they've been, I wrote it down. The last 15 games, Cleveland is 22nd in net rating, 27th in defense, which is
holy
crazy.
Shit, dude, that's insane.
20th in offense. Orlando's 14th in net rating, 20. Oh wait, I wrote down the wrong thing there for them. I think they're 4th in defense or something like that. But
sounds right.
19th in offense. Now I'm pretty sure the 27 number is real. Guys, fact check that. I'm pretty sure it's real.
Well, it's horrific. Whatever it is, like they're among the worst teams in the league on that end of the floor recently.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I feel like the appeal in this series, this is just like a propaganda series. So like if Pablo goes crazy, then we're in trouble. Then we're on fraud watch.
No. You think I won't point to that 15 game stretch, buddy? this Cleveland team is not even an opponent. He might as well be scoring in an empty
the
gym.
Wizards, basically.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
And then if he does bad, we are like, you guys need
He
to
couldn't
listen
even handle this. Wait till he plays a real defense. Oh my God, are you serious?
You guys gotta listen to us more. No, no, I won't rub it in if he struggles. Because everybody struggles. Big time Donovan Mitchell propaganda series. This is really make or break year for me with Donovan Mitchell. Because listen, I was like a couple of years ago, I was like, Devin Booker versus Donovan Mitchell? Get that out of my face. Donovan Mitchell's better.
Donovan Mitchell scored 50 a couple of times in the same series.
Donovan Mitchell is an actual point guard. Devin Booker can barely pass. Oh my God, he can pass now. But yeah, I think this is a big time proving series for Donovan Mitchell, but maybe he doesn't even want to be there. Maybe he won't even try. Who knows? We don't really engage in the Evan Mobley wars, but I believe there are a lot of Evan Mobley wars going on. People are like, they're staunch in their beliefs. They're like, he's still the next Tim Duncan, and then
what's the warring faction, that he's a bust as opposed to that?
Yeah, because the offensive game really hasn't come along. Like he's efficient and he averages like 16 points or something, but yeah, there hasn't been shooting development. There hasn't been like self-creation development really. And then partly it is a tough fit with them. And then also we got to remember they went on the run without him and they went on the run without Darius Garland. So there are people waging Evan Mobley wars, and this will be a big series because he will probably be the primary Pablo defender. I went through. They faced off twice this season, him and Evan Mobley. So I went through and watched the games. The first game is when Pablo scored 42 points. So I was like, Jesus. But they did not come on Evan Mobley. He scored, I think, 6 of them on Evan Mobley. And one of them, he didn't even really score. They threw a lob. They threw like a entry pass to him. And he accidentally missed it, but he like hit it with his hand and it went in. He's like, I scored anyway. So,
I cooked you, Evan Mobley. Masterful gambit, sir.
But then, all the rest of the points came against like, I don't know what they were doing. They came against like Darius Garland and George Niang and Dean Wade and everyone else. And
George Niang, good positional defender. George Niang, smart, scrappy guy. George Niang. Okay.
I don't know. But then the second game, Paulo was like 4 for 15 or something, and it was more Mobley. And so I think in the half court for sure, it'll be a really tough matchup for Paulo, and it'll be a really big test for him. But yeah, it's interesting because teams defend Paulo. Teams have decided we're gonna sell out to defend Paulo, and we're gonna live with everyone else beating us. And I understand that because like everyone, like even Franz, who's supposed to be good, is just having a bad offensive year. Like he can't shoot and everything. It's tough because I understand saying the only guy who's kind of dynamic on this offense is we're just going to go all out to stop him. I almost feel like it backfires because I think he's a better passer right now than he is a scorer, Paulo.
I'm totally comfortable saying that. He blows me away when I watch him pass.
He's really impressed me as his passing has really developed over the course of this year, just because he's getting so many reps against this defensive pressure. And so I almost feel like it bails you out, where if you put 2 on Paulo, then it makes one of the other offensive liabilities on the team. It makes their job easier. It leaves someone open, and then Paulo's going to make the pass. So I almost feel like they should just guard him straight up with Evan Mobley. And like, I think Jarrett Allen is worse at guarding him. But even with him, I feel like I would just solo guard him and live with what happens.
Yeah. A lot to run through there. Right off the bat, I think when people talk about, make Jokic a scorer, that applies perfectly to Pablo. Make Pablo a scorer, and it feels like most of the time that will work to your benefit, especially when you have like a great secondary defender like Allen at the rim if you already have Mobley draped all over him. As far as like agenda wars goes, it is funny to me. For Paolo and for Donovan Mitchell, absolute shit situations to like have a series where like this is where your agenda gets decided, because Donovan Mitchell, like a month of injuries, has not played 4 straight games since February 14th. And then Paolo, just like complete horrible matchup for him defensively. It feels like just 2 huge guys standing directly under the rim, limiting what he wants to get at his
and
most.
Okoro also Okoro does okay against him, I feel like.
Yeah. And so it feels like those two, especially for Donovan Mitchell, who like he's had since the bubble, like he's had these weird series where no spacing against the Knicks. He did not do very well in that situation. And you can criticize him. Like the best players in the world have to be able to play well, even when there's
this
not.
Donovan Mitchell criticism is brought to you by my car turning on.
Ding, ding, ding! Your car hates Donovan Mitchell.
It hates him.
And so it's just like for this to be the follow-up year to the Knicks criticism, for it to now be like, oh, you can't absolutely fucking eviscerate Jalen Suggs and like this dog fight of an Orlando Magic defense. You can't absolutely torch the second best defense in the league as your team's really. I mean, we talked about Garland, down year for Garland. Still like a good offensive player. The Cavs are not nearly as desperate for offense as the Magic are, but Donovan Mitchell is still really like the only go-to engine creator on this Cavs team, it seems like. And so I think the Magic have a lot of good guys to throw at someone like Mitchell, between Jalen Suggs, between Cole Anthony and Anthony Black, and with somebody like Jonathan Isaac waiting at the rim, it might just be a little bit tough for him.
And
so, yeah,
you could even just throw Jonathan Isaac out on the perimeter at him.
That's the kind of guy we're talking about. I'm curious what Jonathan Isaac is like, what the minutes are going to look like in this season. I'm excited for that, or in this series, because yeah, dude, he could be a real series changer for them. I do have Wendell Carter's stats here: 30% from 3 over the last 19 games on 3.6 attempts. So it doesn't look like you're going to get a ton of floor spacing from him. And so, yeah, I don't know. I lean Magic here. It feels like the Magic, the floor of what their defense kind of the way their regular season has gone, where like it's just our defense is so good it's going to keep us in all of these games, and we'll probably be able to grind it out. I don't think the Cavs are a good enough opponent where that strategy will fail. I think the second round, or especially, I mean, God forbid they get to Boston, like that strategy is completely fucked. But if they had to play New York, it feels like that situation or that strategy would come up short. And so, yeah, I go Magic, but I don't have high hopes for the winner of this making like a deep playoff run. I said Magic in 6.
Can you hear my car right now? It's kind of like whining.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay, good. The thing with the Cavs is we've talked about it before. During that, they went on the big run where they're one of the best teams in the NBA because it was Donovan Mitchell, Jarrett Allen, and shooters. It was Niang, Merrill, Dean Wade, everyone. That's a pretty simple recipe, I feel like. Then, as soon as Garland and Mobley come back, JB Bickerstaff is just like, okay, we are not going to do that anymore. We don't like that. That sucks. And immediately everything falls off the rails. So I feel like that team could still beat the Magic, and they have the
absolutely.
That.
Yes,
like
I mean that version
Magic,
of this team.
The Magic will not be able to keep up with that. And so on the flip side, Pablo and Franz would be able to hunt those shooters on the defensive end. But still, like, it would be a 3-point versus 2-point disparity.
And I feel even like then, like with Jarrett Allen protecting Paolo is going to have a difficult time if Jared Allen is protecting the rim. Like, that feels like a pretty irrefutable fact, even though we've talked about how Paolo's not the most efficient rim finisher in the world. Like, even if he's attacking the
and
shooters.
he does just cut attacks short on his own. He is just settling a lot. So it's I feel like the pieces are on this Cavs roster to win the series pretty easily, but he's just not going to deploy them in that way. I don't know how you balance, because playing Mobley and Allen together is really just it kind of bails the magic out, because it's like, okay, you're playing down to our style. You could make us uncomfortable by making this an offensive series, but now it's just a defensive slugfest, and yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, that was another thing I wrote as like something that favors the Magic, is just like the only thing the Magic couldn't have happen is like get into a series where they are like offensive production is guaranteed going to decide the series. If they can make it a series where like we'll just beat you up and like we will win 85-78 or whatever, like they will happily do that. That was their recipe for winning a first round series all year long, and that's still what it is going into this matchup. I agree. I think the Cavs have it. It just sucks, like that move, like benching Mobley, or whatever. Like, if that doesn't work out, that feels like the kind of move that could get a coach fired, especially with like if that's the crowning cherry on top after the back half of the season, after the good run that the Cavs have had. So I don't think Bickerstaff is going to do that. But yeah, it's tough. I also am a little I wonder. So Orlando in the 4 matchups has lost the rebounding battle every single time. Cleveland was +9 in the first one, +3 in the second one, +5 in the third, and then they tied it in the last matchup. So I wonder how much of like the physicality Cleveland's front court really did not show up to play with last season, and how New York took advantage of that. I wonder if that will rear its head in any capacity this season. And I also wanted to say, Evan Mobley haters, I didn't realize the faction was that loud. I think right now Evan Mobley could be most of Jared Allen, and I think that for like, what is he, 23?
2022 jersey, same age as Cade, or he might be younger than Cade. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a 22-year-old, 23-year-old, when's his birthday? June. Yeah, he turns 23 in June. I think most of Jared Allen for a 22-year-old is fine. I think the fit here is it's not good. And I think that's something that they're going to have to address. But for him as an individual player, just because like his 3 isn't there and it might not ever show up, just because he can't space the floor, I don't think that's like, I don't know. I wouldn't call him a bust just because of that.
You know what I would do with him? I would get him out of our face, and I would timestamp it.
I would probably timestamp it as well. I need the timestamp because we're traveling through time zones right now. We're in the east and it's 1:51, but then we're flying through the central and the mountains. Oh my god! So now we're fucking on the west coast. It's like 8:51 right now, if you really think about it from a timestamp standpoint. Do you want to start at the top or the bottom of the West?
Let's start with the Nugs.
Let's start with the Nugs. Nuggets versus Lakers rematch, baby. Yeah, I don't know.
Are you worried?
Well, from an agenda standpoint, absolutely. This is super well set up because, and someone pointed out in response to this critique, I said, the Lakers, if they win, it's all fucking gravy. If they lose, we were an 8 seed. It doesn't matter. We're a 7 seed. Why? Like, you were supposed to beat us. So from an agenda standpoint, it's perfectly set up for them. But someone did respond. They were like, that's how expectations work. And I was like, fuck, you're kind of right. Like the Nuggets should just have higher expectations, I suppose. But the Lakers are no slouch offensively over the second half of the season. I have a lot of 3-point stuff because the Lakers are a pretty poor 3-point defense, especially in the back half of the year. So coming in post All-Star break, Nuggets are the second best three-point defense in the league. They are holding opponents to 33.8% from three. The Lakers are the third worst three-point defense. They are allowing opponents to shoot 38% from three. Denver and LA are the fifth and third best three-point shooting teams respectively since the All-Star break. Denver's sitting at 38.6%. The Lakers are sitting at 39.1%. There are some notable differences from last series. I said Bruce Brown being gone and D'Angelo Russell. He only played 17 regular season games with the Lakers before the postseason last year. That was pretty surprising to me. I felt like he was there for more, but he missed a lot because of health. Him having a whole regular season under his belt this year and it only being the first round, like no fatigue, anything, I feel like he could be a bigger impact on the outcome of this series. He was like 6 points per game in the Western Conference Finals last year, and he's got like a 40-game sample size of being 21-7 on 60% true shooting over the back half of this season. So, yeah, that's what I wrote down right off the top for Nuggets versus Lakers. What do you think about this series?
So I wrote down battle at Lake Tahoe because I was looking up where was the gold, and they said it was in the Sierra Nevada, and
okay,
and it seemed, and so I was like, all right, we need a lake in the Sierra Nevada, and there was Lake Tahoe, so that's what it's going.
I like that. I'm totally I like that battle at Lake Tahoe. I couldn't improve on it.
All right, and it's kind of a neutral site like Nevada versus Colorado, California. There's good news and bad news for the Lakers. So the good news is they are super hot. In their last 15 games, they are 12-3. They are 11th in net rating, 6th in offense, 13 in defense. The bad news is in that same stretch, the Nuggets are 3rd in net rating, 4th in offense, 9th in defense. I didn't get there. I forgot to write down their record. There's a lot of Lakers optimism. And one of the chief voices is Nick Wright. And so when I was in the Wendy's drive-thru, missing the first quarter of Sixers Heat, I went back and watched it, guys. But when I was in the Wendy's drive-thru, where I was just getting two chocolate chip cookies for the game, and you know what? They gave them to me for free, so it worked out.
Damn! Shout out to Wendy.
I don't know why they were kind of stale. I should have heated them up, but maybe they felt bad. But yeah, shout out to Wendy's, man. One of the better fast food cookies up there. Chick-fil-A's up there. McDonald's is up there. Burger King is not with those guys. But
Burger King has a great Oreo shake. It's like 1,500 calories, but it's really good.
It's a good survival tool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Nick Wright's Kate. I was listening to the Los Angeles ESPN radio for some reason because I was trying to find any online radio in the ESPN app. I was trying to find any radio station talking about the game.
Okay.
And so they were talking to Nick Wright, and I was like, all right, I'm going to tune in. And so he's all in on the Lakers winning this series. He has Lakers in 6. And so his argument was basically the Patrick Mahomes argument. He'll just regress to average. And so basically like, and I've seen people making similar arguments online since. So they say that Jamal Murray, because Jamal Murray had a crazy series. He averaged 32, 6, and 5 on 65% true shooting, like 50, 40, 90, everything. He went bonkers in that series. They're like, well, that's not going to happen again. He won't do that good again. So he'll regress.
Okay.
And then D'Angelo Russell was horrific in that series. And so was Dennis Schroeder. D'Angelo Russell was 6 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists in 24 minutes a game, 38% true shooting, 13% from 3, so horrific. Dennis Schroeder was basically the same thing, just 45% true shooting. So those two guys gave you nothing. And so they're like, D'Angelo Russell, he'll give you way more than nothing this year. So Jamal Murray down, D'Angelo Russell up, huge difference.
D'Angelo Russell, pretty much a better player at that point.
And then the other guys who played a little bit for the Lakers were Lonnie Walker and Jared Vanderbilt. So I don't know how much. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, so their argument, and then what's it called? Spence and everyone on the Nuggets shot well last year. Like they were all like 60% true shooting. Like here I wrote it down. Yeah, MPJ, Jokic, Murray, KCP, and Jeff Green on only 5 attempts shot 40% from 3. Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown both averaged 12 points a game on 58% and 63% true shooting. So everyone
down
went
series
crazy.
for Aaron Gordon. That's not a good series for Aaron Gordon. That's all set.
Play finisher Aaron Gordon. So I guess the argument is and Nick Wright said every single game was close until the fourth quarter. That's when the Nuggets separated. And so he's like, so they'll just win those this time. So I was like, okay. But you know what? The Lakers haven't beaten the Nuggets since 2022, since December of 2022. So I'll tell you what, I'm not very confident in this. I understand the idea that the Lakers could get better because D'Angelo Russell playing better. Spencer Dinwiddie has been decent for them as a scorer, maybe, and then he's like a big defender, kind of. Taurean Prince is a fine spot up shooter, and then Gabe Vincent, X Factor. I don't know. So I guess there is an argument that maybe they could be better than last year, but I don't see any reason to believe that the Nuggets would be worse because it's all the same guys. And then you swap out Bruce Brown and Jeff Green with Peyton Watson and Christian Brown. I don't necessarily feel like that's a huge loss. Yeah, I just don't see. I don't really see, and they have more experience than last year, and plus the Nuggets have Justin Holiday. So I don't really see a reason why the Lakers would win this. Like it's not like they added any. Why would Jamal Murray do worse?
Yeah, that's what my first. How many good perimeter defenders are on the Lakers? How many good guard defenders? So you can't qualify Rui Hachimura in there. I guess it'd be Gabe Vincent, who
is
that's
tiny.
like. Jamal Murray,
6'5"
guard. Like he's
Coby
not
White
like.
size.
Yeah, he's Kobe White size. Damn, I mean he's fucking building size, damn near. And Gabe Vincent, so like that's a mismatch in favor of Jamal Murray in isolation, much less like covering a 2-man game, getting switched on to Jokic or anything. Yeah. And so like that right off the bat is a huge assumption, even though in the first couple games of the Timberwolves series, Jamal Murray was not like where he was in the Lakers series last year. First couple games of the Minnesota series, he was all right. And then he scored 40 against them. And it was like, oh shit. Like now he's kind of back to playing at that level. So if you get like warm up Jamal Murray, or if Jamal Murray like just completely regresses, yeah, I could understand that impacting the series.
Really, really bad.
Yeah, like even compared to last year, like 25-6 on great efficiency would be like that's a huge regression for Jamal Murray. And so like that, maybe that could happen. I do think D'Angelo Russell will be better. I agree with that. Yes. I think LeBron playing at a super high level, 0 rounds played already. So you're getting completely fresh legs, LeBron. Defensively, I'll get to where the Lakers are at in a little bit. It's probably his worst defensive year in a little while, except for when he locks in. But overall, offensively, one of his better years in several seasons, especially from a 3-point shooting standpoint. So that could be a difference.
Another thing Nick Wright said, I just remembered. He said Jokic hit a bunch. He hit a few crazy shots, like crazy over his head shots. That's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, those don't count anymore then.
Though he famously only did that versus the Lakers.
Yeah. And so I have this written down. The Lakers or LeBron's defense, D'Angelo Russell, these are in a category called notable differences from last year. My third notable difference is that the Lakers defense way worse compared to last season.
Last year on the
heading into the playoffs, so post All-Star break into the postseason, the Lakers were the 4th best defense in the entire league last year.
They were a defensive team overall, right?
Yes, yeah. And in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, they were the 3rd best defense as well. This year, they are way closer to the middle of the pack in pretty much all defensive aspects. A lot of people would call them not a very good defense outside of like Anthony Davis. And I mean, Hachimura's a good defender. I'll give him that. And then I have a category called similar things to last year, which does have some beef with some of Mr. Wright's points right off the bat. KCP and Michael Porter Jr., both still great shooters. Last year's Lakers series, those two combined to shoot 48% on 15 attempts per game from three-point range, or 46%. My fault.
Who's going to be chasing Michael Porter Jr. around?
I
LeBron?
don't know. Maybe. LeBron's got to probably guard Aaron. No, because Anthony Davis is going to be roaming on Aaron Gordon, you figure.
Remember the ultimate life hack. Rui Hachimura guarding Jokic on ball, and then Anthony Davis.
Exploitable. Anthony
Life
Davis
hack.
as the roamer. Yeah, it's a life hack. And so, yeah. In last year's series, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, 46% on 15 attempts since the All-Star break for both of those guys. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is 45% on catch and shoot threes, 41% on wide open looks. Michael Porter Jr. is 47% on catch and shoot threes, 39% on wide open looks. And so I mean, unless it's just like a lights are too bright championship hangover situation, I don't see why those guys would not shoot the ball really well, especially considering how the Lakers have defended three-pointers lately. They are not good at that. They are good at protecting the rim. And then the Nuggets are still super good in the clutch. They have a 25-14 record. They're 17-8 with Jokic and Murray in the lineup. Jokic per 70. Oh shit. The feds don't want me to tell you this. They're trying to arrest me. Oh my God,
they're like,
guys.
Are you talking to the guy that was at the TSA secured freight facility?
Fuck. God damn it. You got me on a list, man. This is ridiculous. I'm already on a list. Maybe. Who's to say? Jokic per 75 in the clutch, which I mean, per 75, if you're good, it looks insane. But regardless, he's 37 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists on 68% true shooting in the clutch. And then Jamal Murray is 27 points, 8 assists on 69% true shooting in the clutch. Both of them are very efficient from the field, are very efficient from three, are very efficient from the free throw line. Yeah. And I mean, like, I feel like the Spurs game where they blew the huge lead, that has kind of driven a lot of people in terms of recency bias away from what the Nuggets have been as a clutch team all year. They've been a fucking buzzsaw in the biggest moments of the game. And so to expect that to change as well, it could. I mean, in the sense that anything's possible, I guess.
Well, Jokic could get amnesia.
Yeah, Jokic, you could kidnap his horse and then he'd have to fucking fly to Serbia. That's it's possible. But beyond that, I just feel, yeah, like we're running this back, and instead of like best offense meets best defense, we are now in like a shootout playoff series where one of the teams is like spearheaded by the unanimous best offensive player in the game, and one of the other team has LeBron James. So I don't know, but it just feels like the Nuggets are in a pretty good spot.
Wait, what did you say about their defense? I have some stuff written down, but I wrote down Lakers give up the 5th most shots at the rim. Did you say something?
I said they were good at protecting the rim. I don't have any stats to back that up. I have Anthony Davis. That's about it.
I don't know what their percentage is, but they give up a lot of attempts at the rim. And so they might be good at defending it, but they give up a lot. So Jokic at the rim, he's making more shots than other guys at the rim. So that's tough for them. And then I wrote down Denver's defense defers a lot of shots at the rim, and they give up a lot of threes. And then I got this from NBA.com. They have a lot of really good little series preview write-ups. So they wrote that this is a series where 3-pointers are going to mean the least. The Nuggets were the only team that had a winning record in games where they were outscored from 3, which was 18-15. So not even that good. That's how hard it is to win when the other team makes more threes than you. But yeah. The Lakers had the most wins when being outscored from three, but they were 23 and 29, so they didn't have a winning record, but they had the most wins just by volume.
Okay.
So these are the teams most prepared to win when they aren't making threes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Denver
that
and
stat,
LA.
like, it feels like at that point, like, 3-pointers are gravy for Denver,
Yeah.
whereas Lakers are more like, we need these to, like, maybe have a 500 record. I would hate to see what their stats are like in those other games.
Denver and LA ranked 30th and 28th, respectively, in the percentage of their shots that came from 3-point range. And those rates were even lower during their meetings between each other. So the Lakers, the 3-point shot won't be meaningless for them, because when they have won big games like against the Pelicans, it's because they're making a bunch of threes, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think this series, there's just no reason for me to think that this won't be. I want to say sweep. Maybe that's me discounting LeBron and AD. Maybe it'll be like they get one or two, but I feel comfortable about the Nuggets winning.
I would follow up all of that 3-point stuff with the question, which team is better at layups and which team do you think can generate more layups? And like that feels like Denver absolutely. I don't have any stats there. Feels like Denver washes them in that category. Just from like a Jokic Murray 2-man game plus Michael Porter, KCP, and Aaron Gordon, phenomenal cutters. Like they're all great cutters, and they're good.
And the Lakers give up 5th most shots at the rim.
Yeah. And so like, and even if AD is able to help on that, besides Michael Porter Jr., really, like they're all really good dump off passers as well. So whoever is like waiting in the absence of Anthony Davis is probably going to have a mildly open look at the rim, be it Jokic or like another secondary cut Jamal Murray or whatever. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I'll give it Denver in 5, Denver in 6. I think they'll win a game. Especially, it's crazy. I saw the Lakers. They're not even in Denver yet. I would have been in Denver the second I won the play-in tournament to try and get like the altitude going a little bit, but I don't know.
They're you know what? They're in our faces right now.
They're in our faces.
They need to get out of them.
I don't want them there. And I need to know what time it is. Get 2:10.
Stamp that.
Stamped. What do we want to talk about? Wolves Suns next?
Yeah, let's do Wolves Suns. I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, you should be after that fucking the game. I realized with like 5 minutes left in the third quarter of the final game that was the game to then set up the playoff series. So like Suns Wolves played the final game of the series, and I was like, oh, this is fun, or the final game of the season. And then I was like, oh shit, if the Suns win this and like the top shakes out the way it looks like it's going to, it's going to be Suns Wolves. And then the Suns just completely continued to steamroll them. And it feels like for as much momentum as you can get off of one game, the Suns probably did maximize it there. I don't know if that momentum is going to be enough to overcome what has looked like a massive gap in team ability all season long outside of like, can Kevin Durant get the super hot hand? How do you feel about this series?
So when they first got matched up, I was like, this is a funky series. I don't really have a good feel for which way this would go. And then I looked into it, and the more I look into it, it just seems to me like the Suns are at a huge advantage here. And so the Suns were 3-0 this year against the Timberwolves, and they won the matchup by double digits every single time.
Jeez.
2 of the matchups were April 5th and April 14th, so they just happened. And then there was one in November.
So probably no Karl Anthony Towns for either of those, I would imagine.
I think
the second one.
He only missed one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he played the most recent one. I remember that now.
But so I watched basically the first and the fourth quarter of both of these most recent games. A little bit of the second, but it was mostly fast forward. This team is the Timberwolves. This is a major personnel issue. They have to have Karl Anthony Towns guarding Grayson Allen on defense
That is
because
kind of crazy. That's weird. I did not consider that.
yeah, it is a problem. Because Mike Conley is guarding. They have Mike Conley is guarding who? Is he guarding Booker? I forget.
Booker or Beal. I mean, one of them.
So there's Booker, Beal, Durant, Nurkic, and Grayson Allen, and so it's like a pretty small line. So who you can't really put Towns on, or are you going to put him on Durant?
Yeah, I mean, that's holy shit.
It doesn't feel good on Durant. It doesn't feel good on Booker. It doesn't feel good on Beal. And so they're like, I guess we'll put him on the least offensive threat. But Grayson Allen is running around. He did a pump fake. Towns jumped. He passed to Beal. He cut and got the ball back. Him on Grayson Allen, just the on-ball matchup, that is not favorable.
And Cat's going to jump. I just want to put that out there. Like, he is a jumper on pump fakes.
And then when they pull him into they can just pull him into the action. Like, they call for Grayson Allen to be the screener. That doesn't help you. And then the low man, like, too often the low men were Mike Conley, and Anthony Edwards is a fine low man. He can, like, protect the rim a little bit, but like Mike Conley is being tasked to pick up these Nurkic rolls. And then, like, this is going to be the tides are going to change on the Rudy Gobert trade again. I fear. I'm sorry, Minnesota fans. I see a vision of destruction, like Heroes. I think the world is going to end. But I don't know if it's going to come true. Hopefully it doesn't. But, like, they are just going to pick him apart because famously Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they basically just go in public and they're like, I think Gobert sucks. I think that guy's trash. I don't think he's good at all. They are going to kill him in pick and roll because if he gives them space, they have three guys who can hit pull-up threes in pick and roll if they give them space. And they can hit pull-up threes. They can hit pull-up twos. They don't even care about getting all the way to the rim. And so they're dragging Gobert out to the perimeter. And even if Gobert is underrated defensively, like, he's not as bad guarding out on the perimeter as people think, he still can't guard good Bradley Beal or Devin Booker or Kevin Durant. And so, yeah, and then even when Towns was out, it was the same situation with Naz Reid. Like, Naz Reid is guarding Grayson Allen. So, and it was all the same things. And so the only thing is, like, you have to hope that Towns, on the other end, Towns can make them pay for it, but he just wasn't. And, like, they were basically just going all out, flooding the driving lanes to stop Anthony Edwards and just living with, like, Jaden McDaniels wide open and stuff like that. They were conceding a lot to stop Anthony Edwards, and he was struggling. I was watching these matchups and I was like, Jesus, man, this looks easy for the Suns. This doesn't look hard at all. So I'm worried that this is just like a nightmare scenario for Minnesota.
Yeah. I suppose I would come back with this Suns game. It's not the ceiling of what they can do offensively because Booker did not play well. 23 points, 6 of 16 from the field as a scorer. He facilitated fine.
That's pretty good.
It's fine. It's not. I mean, his true shooting percentage was probably okay.
Is that the latest game?
Yeah. This is I don't even know what the date was, but it's the final game of the regular season,
14th or something. Yeah, and Beal went crazy, right?
Yeah. So what you're probably looking at more often, routinely, Beal has been the worst of the big three, and his
season sneakily has been okay, like his overall season number. I was shocked looking at it.
To me, it's fine. It's kind of carried by games like this. It feels like his averages are, at least, where, like, he has 30, he has 28. And this was a real outlier for him this year. I would assume this might even be his season high, 36 points on great efficiency. And so, like, more often you will see Kevin Durant and Devin Booker being the go-to guys offensively. And Beal, when he's not in this mode, is not as automatic of like a catch and shoot 3-point guy. If they kick out to him, he's not as automatic pulling up from 2. Like this latest game felt over representative of what the Suns can do offensively from a Bradley Beal standpoint. And so then once the approach rotates more to Devin Booker, they still don't have an answer for. I mean, Anthony Edwards, maybe he's pretty good defensively. But like he's going to have his hand, like he's going to be exhausted.
They just call Gobert's defender up in the pick and roll. And then he hits a pull of 3 or Edwards chases over and then he just hits mid-range.
I will also say Nurkic in the role, he's not like that. He's not like that. He might have been like that this game, 3 of 4, whatever, 8 assists, whatever, 5 steals, whatever. He's not like that. He's not a good pick and roll finisher. You can get the ball out of his hands when he catches the passes. The
problem is the Gobert will be so high up that it'll give him a bunch of space, and then, like I said, Conley is the one down there, and so as bad as Nurkic has been, but I guess it won't be like that every time unless they do that on purpose with the alignment. They like station him at the corners.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Finch. I don't think the whole series is going to be we have no solution to get Gobert off of the perimeter. I think Chris Finch can come up with a fix for that. I think I don't know. I just feel like the defense can handle what Phoenix has done for most of the season. If we get 6 variance games of what Phoenix has been, if you get the 6 games out of Booker and Durant that they gave Denver last season in the second round, Minnesota loses this series. They can't handle that caliber of offensive output from Phoenix, but I don't think that's like a given compared to where they've been all year. Karl Anthony Towns versus Grayson Allen is scary though. Like that's Jesus, like I didn't realize it was going to be that bad. And I feel like even more so than Gobert's legacy or Gobert's stock taking a hit, that might fuck up like, okay, we know the defense can be elite with Gobert at the center of it. We know Anthony Edwards is one of the best players on the planet at 22 years old. Where does Karl Anthony Towns fit into all this? His contract isn't good. You're probably not getting a better player back in a trade, but if you need to like retool the roster and just kind of like go for a 2 great players and depth type run in the West, maybe this is a series that
Wiggins and Clay.
The return of Maple Jordan to Minnesota, that could be fun. I don't think they'd do that. I don't know, man, because I do see the concerns. I guess I have more faith that like Gobert finally has perimeter defenders. It's going to be different this time in the playoffs. This isn't Utah. It's not Donovan Mitchell navigating the screens. It's not. It's Jaden McDaniels. It's someone good. Oh my God. But I don't know. I could be tripping. I could be wrong. That's not even any of the shit that I had written down here. What did I talk about? So I guess Phoenix, 10th best offense in the league post All-Star break. The competition level of this series depends almost entirely on their big 3 getting into the mode that they were in that most recent game. And looking at the box score again, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they combined for, 38 points on 12 of 30 from the field. Not particular. I mean, 4 of 11 from 3-point range. So like fine, not overachieving games by their standards. Like they could hit much higher highs than that in this series. I just said the Wolves, I don't know. I think Phoenix, their off games will punish them more than this final game was representative of. But if I'm wrong, if we get like a Phoenix run, that'll be entertaining basketball. So I'm not tripping. I'm not like dying on the Timberwolves hill. I just think damn, that was a great Bradley Beal game. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I was trying to think like what do you do? Like, do you go all in on, okay, we're going to have Towns bully them on the other end to try and make them pay? So this was offset. I was thinking, what if they have to put Towns off the bench and like start Nickeil Alexander-Walker? But then the offense is even tighter because then it's like Gobert, McDaniels, Walker, Conley, and Edwards. Like, that's a lot of pressure on Anthony Edwards. And then like, I just feel like there's too many pressure points on Minnesota relative to this team. I feel like this is just a nightmare matchup because like, even like Conley, I think he can get abused. Like, I don't trust him on ball versus a good Bradley Beal or versus Devin Booker. So I'm in doomer mode. I'm worried that this could get out of hand, and then we're having mean conversations about Rudy Gobert all season long.
I mean, maybe. Because Mike Conley, he's given up a lot of size guarding even Bradley Beal, much less Booker, it feels like. So, yeah, I suppose I see where you're at. I really thought I was in on McDaniels this offseason. I thought he was going to have like a 40%.
He's shooting okay, right?
I mean, like for the season, it feels like he's not. It feels like that's like a driving reason why the defense is so tight.
I think he might be. I don't know. I could be wrong.
33% on 3.5 attempts per game. Yeah, I thought he was going to be like a way better shooter than he has been this season, and
he
so
was
for that,
for a little bit, but I guess it did not hold up.
I mean, yeah, no fucking shit. Jeez Louise, it's pretty nasty stuff. I don't know.
Oh, I said, where does this? I said battle in the morning woods. I don't know where does the sun meet a Timberwolf?
Yeah. Like sunrise on the peak, battle of something like that. Sunrise on the snowy
battle. What's the tallest mountain in Minnesota? Do they have mountains? They'd probably don't.
They have forests. I know that.
What's the tallest point? Where would you see the sun the best?
The only one I can think of is like Mount McKinley, but that's in like Colorado, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think that's real Timberwolf territory. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess I'm comfortable. I will say Wolves in 7, but if you told me Phoenix 1 and 6, I wouldn't be like, whoa. I don't know.
Suns in 5.
Suns in 5. All right, there we go. Hey, do you, man? That's all right. You're kind of in my face right now, if I'm being honest. I don't know.
Oh, my bad. Could you timestamp it?
Yeah. All right. Ooh, Clippers Mavs. The most fun series, maybe.
Perhaps. Hopefully Kawhi plays.
Yeah, I mean that's right off the bat. Where did I write that down? I said I will watch Game 1 of this series, the closest of any playoff series. I figure because if Kawhi is not every bit of playoff Kawhi that we expect, this could get dicey as shit for Los Angeles very quickly. I wrote that down before the report of Kawhi getting injection. I mean, it's not confirmed. The president of Clippers basketball operations was like,
Botox?
Yeah.
Has LA changed him?
Kawhi, you look so old. You have forehead wrinkles. And he was like, no, come on. And then he like quietly went to the doctor.
I did all these years of not smiling for nothing.
You got a non-emotion lines. You got a bunch of flat lines all over your face. Yeah. So Kawhi, inflammation in his knee. They talked to the president of basketball operations for the Clippers. He said, one thing I would share with you is that inflammation is unpredictable. So we'd love to have a crystal ball, and Kawhi would love to have a crystal ball and know exactly on this day when he's going to come back. But you just can't control that. You can control what you can control. Hopefully the inflammation reduces in a short time and he's back on the court. That's the goal. He would not comment on whether or not he had an injection into the inflamed knee. So questionable for Game 1.
Anything. He wouldn't comment on, if you asked him, what'd you get for Christmas? He wouldn't comment.
Don't worry about it. Maybe I was bad. Maybe I was good. Who cares? Yeah. Other than that, this feels like a series where a lot of stuff is leaning Dallas from both teams' perspective.
Yeah.
Harden entering the playoffs, final 12 games of the season.
Oof.
He missed the final 4 games. He played like 10 minutes against Utah. He had to get minutes against Ice Bryce. He knows what's coming. He's like, I want to say I could play against the GOAT. So yeah, final 12 games of the season, he averaged 13 on 51% true shooting, horrific shooting splits. The Clippers will probably not hit their stride offensively if Harden's shooting sub 35% from 3. Earlier this year, I was like, oh, I'm confident in like the Clippers surviving postseason Harden, what he's been, because he could kind of just fill out a facilitator role on this team. If he's not spacing the floor, I don't think that facilitator role is going to be nearly as impactful. I think they'll probably just like let him shoot. And so all of the stuff that happens from him getting to the rim through pick and roll, through closeouts, all that stuff probably will not be as impactful. He needs to be a threat from out there, and for most of the end of the season, he wasn't. What do you think? Do you have? I mean, I assume most of your thoughts are about Dallas. I have a lot of shit written down about them.
Yeah, I mean, everyone. I feel like everyone in the world is picking Dallas, so everyone knows why they would pick Dallas. I guess I will try and spread some Clippers optimism. Kawhi Leonard, if healthy, is unstoppable. Like we've seen him still win games even when Luka Doncic is doing his best. Kawhi Leonard is able to match that and
21-year-old Luka, not current Luka. I don't know about that.
He was already prime. He was already a monster.
Oh my god!
We'll see how much better we'll see how much better a human can possibly be. He was a little lighter back then. Paul George and James Harden fluctuate in the playoffs, but it's possible we get a good series from both of them. And Kyrie and Luka can both be bullied on defense. I was watching a breakdown video about the Mavericks Suns series from a couple of years ago, and like one of the big changes that the Mavericks won in 7, right?
The Mavericks Suns.
Yes.
Yeah. The Mavs won in Game 7 in Phoenix, I think.
Was that the famous Chris Paul game?
Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
But yeah, what changed the tides was they were hardcore targeting Luka, and then like the Mavericks programmed in a bunch of like pre-switches and like scram switches and stuff like that to avoid Luka getting into bad situations. And then so that I was thinking about that versus this year. Obviously, the team's defense as a whole is better than it was, but Luka's still not good. But Kyrie is also not. He's tiny, so
he tries.
Yeah, he's.
We're willing to excuse a certain Atlanta guard who's trying on defense this year, but all of a sudden, we get to the most skilled guard of all time, and trying on defense isn't good enough. Wow!
Listen, when it comes to Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Paul George calling you into a switch, I'm worried. I'm worried if it's Io DeSumo, let alone these little guys. But yeah, these like Ty Lue is one of the best coaches in the league, right? And he has a roster full of personnel that he can do a lot of different things with, and they have a roster capable of they have 3 superstar, maybe not superstar level anymore. It's 1 superstar for sure level offensive player, and then 2 high level star offensive players in Harden and Paul George when they're playing up to their best. Like, how do you hide Kyrie and Luka both? I don't know if that's possible.
I suppose. So who are the other 2 on the floor? It's Zubats and what? Is it Coffee?
Terrence Mann, I think.
Kyrie can guard Terrence Mann. I believe that. I don't know, dude. I feel like Kyrie, when he settles in, is pretty good. Is the film just like complete dog shit on him?
I haven't reviewed it, but
I
like
mean, me neither. This is like eye test stuff. So if like somebody who's smarter and has reviewed stuff and they say Kyrie's bad, it's fine, I guess.
I just don't see a way where he switched on to like would you trust him versus James Harden? I don't want that matchup there.
I mean, if my opinion right now, yes, my opinion could flip on that. It's hard. I only say that because Harden's been so bad lately. I think he's like really good laterally in terms of like sticking with guys and making finishes as difficult as he can. And so if you throw somebody like that at Harden, who's already not playing super well, I think he could be impactful there. Kawhi Leonard, absolute wash. Paul George, absolute wash. Mostly, he could get Paul George to settle for some stuff that a 6'9" guy should not settle for on someone Kyrie's size. But that's also like just part of what Paul George's game is, especially in the postseason. There are a lot of pull-up jumpers in there. So yeah, I don't know. I think Dallas going from, what are they in their final 16 games?
16-2 in the 18.
Yeah, so final 18, they're 16-2, best defense in the league, fifth best net rating, only 12th in offense. So their defense was like actively winning them games in a lot of those scenarios. And that's, I mean, you have Luka and Kyrie as closers, so even if your defense slips to the point where it's close, they can usually seal the deal for you. I don't know. I just think right now it feels like Dallas complete 180 from like very high level defense to just like absolutely cannot account for the fact that Kyrie and Luka are on the floor. That feels like a big switch for me, especially with like the state of Kawhi Leonard's health. And I mean,
Harden is dealing with a foot ailment as well.
which is pretty, I mean, considering how much of his game is deceleration. That's like
a lot of feet in his
yeah,
game.
yeah. Like he's got to stomp a lot and stuff. So that's considering how much of his game is feet based, he never walks on his hands. It's honestly kind of irresponsible to be so one dimensional.
Some of it is jumping, some of it's in the air, but a lot of it's feet on the ground.
I mean, plenty of it is when you jump, you land most of the time. Mm-hmm. So like, there's two sides to that coin.
Double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword.
You know, me reaping and versus me sowing, me jumping. Me jumping. Oh, this is so easy on my feet. Oh yeah, I love being in the air. Me landing. Oh, my foot ailment. It's
jeez, my foot, my little feet bones. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I've written down for them. Through the last 20 games, Clippers 4th worst non-lottery defense. Of teams not actively trying to lose, they were better than only the Bulls, the Hawks, and the Cavs. And so, yeah, I don't have super high hopes. Kawhi did miss a fair bit of that stretch. And with Kawhi on the floor, their defense is statistically night and day, I believe. But I'm not sure how that will bear out when tested by two of the game's like premier on-ball creators and one of the best offensive players we've ever seen in Luka. So, yeah, I'm going to go Mavs in 6 here. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be. It could be in 5. If Kawhi is out, I think it could be a sweep. But yeah, they're like, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if they just got on a roll. If we're thinking like February Clippers versus this team, we're having a different conversation. But yeah, overall, just too much momentum going the Mavericks way. And I already felt like Luka plus defense plus shooters is unbeatable. And then you make one of them Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. I mean, when you watch like Mavericks games during this stretch at the end of the year, it's just like the defense works so hard to limit Luka and to cover all of the spots where he could create like a really high level shot. And like they accomplish that. It's a Herculean feat a lot of the time. And then he kicks the ball and it's Kyrie Irving. And like you're scrambling to close out on Kyrie Irving. And you're like, oh fuck, well, this is like maybe the best isolation scorer in the league or one of them, and he's just like he gets.
Well, no, he's actually 12th, maybe. I don't know. There's a graph out there. I did a TikTok about it.
Oh my
Tyrese
god,
Halliburton's actually a better on-ball scorer. So.
oh,
Yep.
I like that. Okay,
Yep,
all
DeMar
right.
DeRozan's actually number 2. Who was number 1? Crap, was Kawhi number 1? Kawhi might have been number 1.
That makes sense. He's got a good on-ball scoring game. But so yeah, it's just tough. It's a tough ask. It's not February Clippers. It sucks that like, I mean, what the
Were
fuck?
they only good because they had good weather in February and everyone else didn't? But now everybody has good weather?
Everybody can go for walks now, and it's not. I mean, in Dallas, it'd probably be better to go for a walk in February than it would in. It's probably pretty nice there, I guess. It just feels.
I don't know how their weather works. They're weird.
I don't love the heat. I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite to walk outside in. I'll say that much. Is that everybody? Is that every single? I mean, okay. So, who do you got in the play-in game? Sacramento or New Orleans?
Sacramento.
All right. Who do you got in the? I mean, me too. Also, Heat versus Bulls.
I'm praying for the Heat, but I feel like the Bulls will win to prolong my suffering.
Bulls win. This is nightmare Pablo scenario. Bulls win. Disaster class versus the Celtics for Coby White. He's out of every
and masterclass Vooch series.
Oh,
so they're like and just yeah.
They re-signed DeMar DeRozan. They max him.
Yeah, they're like, man, he shot 37% from 3 against the Celtics. We can't let this go.
They're like, what volume? And 3 attempts? Oh my god!
You know what's cruel is that, like, I've talked about the type of player you would need to have in between LaVine and DeRozan for it to work, and now Coby White has become that player where it actually probably could work. But still, it's too late. It's too late. Lonzo's gone. He's not coming back the same. Vucevic is not. He's worse than he's ever been. It's too late. It's too late. And we need to be in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. Would Coby
You
White
won't be.
Kobe and Cooper? Nope, we're not gonna be.
Just bring him and just ship him north. Ship him north a couple of states and one district from Chapel Hill to is that where they play in North Carolina? Is that what it's like?
That's what University of North Carolina.
Yeah, but Duke too, right? Aren't they all right there?
They're right by each other. Who's in Durham? So Duke might.
I think Duke is in Durham. That sounds right. So yeah, ship Old Flag, a couple states and one district north, and then the Flag Coulibaly pairing. It will move mountains, baby.
Whoa! And then when they get Wemby, that'll be crazy.
It'll be sick. It'll be so dope. Hell yeah. That's all I got for you. Do you have any final thoughts on? Do you have any final big sweeping playoff predictions?
No. The one of the playoff series. There's going to be an explosion. No, there's not. That could be.
Whoa! All right, Mr. TSA.
That could be construed as a threat because I listen. I have the Zion hat on. I was outside a TSA secured facility. No, there's a cool movie coming out. Have you seen the trailer where the guy goes to the concert with his daughter?
Do you think that movie looks cool?
I think it looks cool. I'm into the premise.
You're such a goober. It looks so stupid.
Who is it being made by? Is it
M. Night Shyamalan?
Oh my God! Yeah, it's gonna be
this coming off the beach that makes you old. We are getting
I never saw that one.
Serial killer trapped at a pop star concert. Oh my God!
So
hey, I'll see it.
Taylor Swift's album. No,
I listened to one of the songs. If she hadn't written it, would have been good. The instrumental was good. I liked it.
She's just doing fan service. She's just literally dropping names about celebrities.
Yeah, well, she said the phrase, "I scratch your head, you fall asleep, tattooed gold retriever," and I shut the song off after that. I was like, that's too much.
And we all know who that is.
It's Travis Kelce.
No. He's not tattooed. Wait, is he tattooed?
I mean, I'm sure. It's Maddie Healy.
I think it's Maddie Healy, nigga, because I don't think Travis Kelce has tattoos. Maybe he does. I don't know.
He's probably got. I don't know. I don't know what he would have. Something stupid.
Whoa.
Shout out to Travis Kelce. Not better than Gronk, but you're cool.
Mm.
Damn.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. This was a long. We rambled. I mean, we padded at the end. We padded a solid 4 minutes there. So bye.